Fox Sports welcomes you to San Francisco on a 55-degree afternoon. Two proud franchises with a combined 8 Super Bowl titles struggling through disappointing seasons. It's Week 15 in the National Football League. The San Francisco 49ers host the Washington Redskins. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the NFL on Fox. Kenny Albert along with Brian Baldinger. Joe Gibbs returned to the nation's capital after an 11-season absence. The Redskins have struggled offensively, last in the league, averaging only 14 points per game. However, Brian, their defense has been outstanding, ranked second in the league, trailing only the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, it's a huge bright spot in what has been a collective disappointment from top to bottom in this organization. And really, you can't have the number 2 defense that wants to lay claim to number 1 without greatness. And on the defensive line, Cornelius Griffith has dominated. It's his best year of his 5-year career. Antonio Pierce has come out as a free agent, led this team in tackles, and the number 1 pick, Sean Taylor, has been nothing short of phenomenal here in his rookie season.
On the other side here in San Francisco, only 2 wins for the 49ers this season, both in overtime, both against the Arizona Cardinals. And some distractions this week. 49ers second-year head coach Dennis Erickson met on Tuesday night with representatives from the University of Mississippi.
Well, you just throw another tent around the circus that's here in San Francisco. I played on a 1-15 team with a coaching change. You don't prepare the same. It's not the same as it is in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh or a team fight for a playoff spot. So it's been a distraction. But one good, feel-good story here, I think, in San Francisco is Ken Dorsey. I mean, he was a winning quarterback at Miami. He's making his 5th start, but he's from the Bay Area, and this is his first NFL start here at Candlestick, where he grew up idolizing Joe Montana. Heck, he got his first NFL win last week against Arizona. He threw his first 3 touchdown passes. He's excited about being here this afternoon.
And we are as well. Who will put up big numbers for the Redskins and the 49ers? Still time to select your singular fantasy football team for this week. Text message 63504 on your singular wireless phone or vote on foxsports.com. Today, it's a Saturday afternoon special. The Redskins and the 49ers coming up next.
You're watching Fox Sports. Available in 720p, the world's finest high-definition standard with Dolby 5.1.
We welcome you back to San Francisco. Earlier today at the Meadowlands, the Steelers with the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL, just ahead of the Redskins, defeating the Giants by the score of 33-30. So Pittsburgh has now won 12 consecutive games. As we check in with Chris Myers. Chris?
Kenny, the Redskins aren't going to the playoffs, but they still think they can be number 1. That is on defense. Having watched what the Steelers did earlier, Washington comes in with the number 2 defense. If they hold San Francisco to 217 yards or less, then they will end up moving into the number 1 ranking. They haven't been the number 1 defense, I'll tell you how long, since 1939. Joe Gibbs wasn't even born back then, but they've been buying into the theory. Defensive coordinator Greg Williams said from the beginning, we can be number 1 no matter what the offense does in this particular case. They also get a boost as their star linebacker LeVar Arrington returns from the knee injury that took him out since week 2. Arrington said, hey, I want to be a part of this special unit. He says he's actually become a better player by studying hard while he was out and learning more about Greg Williams' defense. And he said, this is a playoff defense. Arrington said, we're kind of like that car company. We're number 2, but we're trying harder.
All right, thanks very much, Chris. The Redskins have won the toss. Todd Peterson getting set to kick off for the 49ers. James Thrash and Liddell Betts back deep. Betts last week against the Eagles returned the opening kickoff 70 yards. And this is Betts from the 3. Betts taken down by Terry Jackson after a 25-yard return. So Patrick Ramsey in his 3rd season out of Tulane, making his 5th start this season. Mark Brunell started the first 9 games for the Redskins. The men protecting Ramsey, including the 42-year-old right tackle, the former 49er, Ray Brown. Portis having another outstanding season his first year in Washington. Redskins start from the 28-yard line, and this is Clinton Portis Out across the 30, gain of 3, tackled by a former Redskin, the middle linebacker, Derek Smith. 49ers ranked middle of the pack, 15th defensively. Andrew Williams starts for the injured Andre Carter at right defensive end. A terrific set of linebackers. And an injury-plagued secondary. Second down and 7 from the 31. And the Redskins keep it on the ground again. It is Portis, takes it out to the 35-yard line, a gain of 4. Jamie Winborn made the tackle, setting up 3rd down and 3.
You know, the Redskins are coming off an emotional loss on Sunday night to the Philadelphia Eagles, their rival. It's a 3-point loss. And Ramsey threw an interception at the end of that game in the end zone, trying to go to Chris Cooley, trying to win it. They got a little greedy. Patrick Ramsey said it's a learning experience in his 5th straight start here under Joe Gibbs.
Coles and Gardner split to the left. Now Coles comes in motion. 3rd down and 3. Ramsey to the air for the first time, and he finds Lavernius Coles, who picks up 7 yards. A Redskin 1st down out to the 42-yard line.
Well, in the pregame show today, I think everybody hit on it, you know, with the interview with Joe Gibbs, that did they stay with Mark Brunell too long? They did, because this is what Patrick Ramsey can do. He's got a strong arm. He's not afraid to use it. They don't give him much opportunity to use it. And the big thing today is the Redskins watch how quickly they can get to the line of scrimmage and get into a rhythm today on offense.
From the 42 on 1st down, it's Clinton Portis up the middle, and he gains 5 out to the 47.
Well, you know, Joe Gibbs started off his tenure here making a blockbuster trade. Yeah, you know, and Clinton Portis came from Denver for Champ Bailey, and I think it's been good for both teams. Neither guy wanted to be where they were. Bailey didn't want to be in Washington, and Portis didn't want to be in Denver. And Portis has a chance here to be the first back in NFL history to rush for over 1,500 yards his first 3 years in the league.
Now it's 2nd down and 5. Portis running right. In fact, only Portis, Eric Dickerson, and Edgerrin James have rushed for 1,500 over their first 2 seasons, and now Portis with the opportunity to become the first to do it his initial 3 years.
Well, I mean, there's the best of all time in Emmitt Smith, and in a lot of people's minds, Jim Brown will never have been better. Left the game too early, and Clinton Portis right there with all of them. And he has displayed a toughness that a lot of people probably didn't know that he had, especially when he doesn't have the ball. Blocking, chasing people downfield.
Now some trickery from the Redskins. The end around to Rod Gardner, who takes it down to the 36-yard line, 11-yard pickup, and another Redskins 1st down as they move the chains on this opening drive.
Well, you know, I mean, it's all basically run. 1 pass so far. But here's Rod Gardner getting the ball to him, who hasn't gotten it much in the passing game. Watching the Redskins here and their rhythm and their tempo, they are out of the huddle fast here today. They worked on it all week in practice. They wanted to break the huddle with less than 20 seconds to go. Get up the line and be able to do their motion and shifting without getting caught.
4 receivers set, inside handoff, and Portis is bottled up.
It's interesting, you know, Joe Gibbs told us that he likes to watch his quarterbacks walk. If a quarterback walks fast, he's in a hurry. And, you know, and he understands tempo. He says, you know, Patrick's from Ruston, Louisiana. And he's kind of a country boy, and he kind of labors a little bit in and out of the huddle. He wants him to have the tempo that guys like Joe Theismann, you know, and we'll listen to Joe tonight, and we all know how fast Joe can talk. Well, he walked to the huddle as fast as he could talk.
Yeah, no surprise in that Gibbs mentioned Theismann to us last night as a guy who walked fast into the huddle. Ramsey complete. Gardner, he broke free and takes it all the way down to the 49ers 15-yard line. 21 yards from Ramsey to Rod Gardner.
Well, here's just a little stop route. I mean, this is not a complicated passing offense. It's probably the simplest in football. It's hitches, it's screens, it's stops. They don't throw the ball down the field very much. They don't trust Patrick Ramsey to do it yet. They don't trust the offensive line, their protection. So they're trying to do what they do best right now, which is the short passing game.
9th play of this opening drive coming up for the Redskins. And the give to Portis. And he takes it down to the 12-yard line, gain of 3. So the Redskins on the move. They've already picked up 4 first downs and eaten up nearly 5.5 minutes during this opening drive. And Brian, the Redskins have scored on their last 7 trips into the red zone.
They want to start scoring touchdowns. You know, they've bottled themselves up in a lot of games down here this year.
2nd down and 7 off the fake end around. The pass is caught, and stretching into the end zone is Robert Royal for the touchdown.
Well, we came in today talking about the defense ranked number 2, trying to get to number 1, and that's the best opening drive I've seen the Redskins have all year. That looked like a good offense. That left knee might have been down before Royal stretched that ball out over. The 49ers would have an opportunity if they wanted. Now that's a touchdown. That knee never hit down. Good stretch by the young tight end.
So the Redskins put together a 72-yard drive. And now the newest Redskin, Jeff Chandler, former San Francisco 49er, out to attempt the extra point. So the Redskins, for the 3rd consecutive week, score a touchdown on their opening possession. 12 yards from Patrick Ramsey to Robert Royal. Royal's 2nd touchdown this season. 7-0 Redskins.
This Fox NFL special is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39.
The Redskins strike first, a 10-play, 72-yard drive, culminating with the 12-yard touchdown pass from Patrick Ramsey to the tight end Robert Royal.
Pretty good balance on that drive. You know, they threw it 3 times. Ramsey was 3 for 3. Ran it 7 times. Kept San Francisco off guard the whole time.
Chandler's kickoff taken at the 11 by Arnez Battle. And Battle brings it out to the 29-yard line. An 18-yard return. So Ken Dorsey and the 49ers offense comes out trailing by a touchdown.
Fox NFL special is brought to you by Bud Light. Fresh, smooth, real. It's all here.
Yeah. 23-year-old Ken Dorsey makes his 5th NFL start, his first here in San Francisco. Grew up in Orinda, California, just east of Oakland. His previous 4 starts this season came on the road. 1st and 10, 49ers from the 29-yard line. Off the play fake, pass is caught by the tight end Eric Johnson, who's had a sensational season. A gain of 14 yards and a 49ers first down. Niners offense ranked 24th. The offensive line has given up the 3rd most sacks in the NFL, although they played well last week in the win over Arizona. As did Maurice Hicks, 139 yards last week against the Cardinals in his first NFL start. 3 receivers set from the 42. A give to Hicks, and he is forced back. Marcus Washington, along with Demetric Evans, in on the tackle for the Redskins' 2nd-ranked defense. Evans along with Griffin, Salavea, and Ronaldo Wynn up front. Griffin leading the Redskins with 4 sacks. Washington, Pierce, and Marshall, the linebacking core. LeVar Arrington will see action today. Smoot and Harris, the corners. Clark and Taylor, the Redskins safety. Loss of 3 on the previous play. 2nd down and 13. And again, the handoff to Maurice Hicks. And he brings it out to the 45-yard line, a gain of 6. Antonio Pierce made the stop. 3rd down and 7 coming up.
You know, Dorsey is just a likable guy. When you sit down to talk with Ken Dorsey, you're talking to an intelligent young kid, mature, you know, quarterback Miami to a championship team there. and he understands the game. And last week, he woke up with a nervous stomach, you know, and he didn't feel good. And he went out through 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. He said the upset stomach runs in the family. Maybe he has that today.
3rd down and 7. A penalty marker as the pass is broken up by Adi Jamo. But there is a flag. Pete Morelli, our referee today.
Going to be against the Redskins.
Hands to the face. 21, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's on Fred Smoot, the right corner.
Yeah, completely away from the play, too. I mean, Dorsey wasn't even looking over to this side. I mean, there's Dorsey on the outside right there. Boy, that's a horrible call. I mean, Fred didn't do anything there except just put his hand out, and the play went the other way. And that enforcement of illegal contact this year, more than anything, it has allowed teams to continue drives and stay on the field like it does for the 49ers right here.
And penalties have killed the Redskins throughout this 2004 season. Dorsey to the outside. Cedric Wilson has the first down, out of bounds at the Redskins 35 after a gain of 15 yards.
You know, the one thing about Dorsey, he's a tall, skinny, lanky kid. He's 6'5", and you know, he can't run. He's got long, spindly legs. He doesn't have a strong arm, kind of a crazy motion. He knows that he's got to get the ball out of his hands fast. He can't stay out there and wait for things to develop down the field. He's not going to run away from anybody. He knows when he hits that 3rd step or 5th step, the ball's got to be gone. So he's got to be super smart in anticipating what the Redskins are doing.
Terrific record at Miami, 138 in his 40 starts, 2-time Heisman Trophy finalist from the 35. On first down, as Dorsey floats one up a bit too high, intended for Arnaz Battle.
One thing about Dorsey now, you know, when he does miss, he throws the ball high. The ball sails on him. I mean, if you watch his motion, it's kind of a windmill motion. See Arnaz Battle there, still gets his hands on it. I mean, he's still got to grab that ball. But watch this motion here. The motion, it's not a tight motion, so there's a lot of room for error. The ball comes almost like a windmill. There's a lot of room for error and where he releases the ball. So he's got to tighten that up if he's going to have a long career, which I think he will in this business.
Now 2nd and 10 from the Redskins 35. Hicks cuts it back inside and works his way down to the 28-yard line. Gain of 6 for the undrafted free agent out of North Carolina A&T by way of NFL Europe and a Federal Express office. That's where he was working last year when he was out of football in Chicago.
Well, look at what he did last week. In his first NFL start, ran the ball 34 times for 139, caught 5 more passes, tied a 49er record for touching the ball 39 times in a game, played with bruised ribs, and won the respect of all of his teammates.
3rd down and 4, and the pass is caught for a first down by Brandon Lloyd. Forced out of bounds by Adi Jamo after a gain of 16 yards.
Well, the Redskins on defense here are giving the 49ers way too much cushion on the outside, allowing Dorsey here to really, I mean, you look at this right here. Look at that, the motion and the amount of space that Adi Jamo is giving them. They're giving them that first down, which if you think you're the number 2 ranked defense trying to be number 1, you would challenge this team a lot more than they are.
From the 13 on first down, Hicks met in the backfield by Lamar Marshall, who's had an outstanding season as he and Antonio Pierce have been handed a tremendous opportunity with the injuries suffered by LeVar Arrington and Michael Barrow.
Well, you're going to hear this at this time of the year around the league. Undrafted free agents, guys that everybody else gave up on, like Lamar Marshall. They've got 5 of them starting for the Redskins. That man, Greg Williams, just wants guys that are hungry, that bring their playbooks home and open them and study them and know what they're doing. He wants smart players, and that's what Lamar Marshall is.
Guy was cut by Tampa Bay 3 times. Dorsey on 2nd and 14 to the end zone. Brandon Lloyd, touchdown, 49ers.
Well, Patrick Ramsey takes the Redskins down for an opening drive score, and Ken Dorsey said, hey, I could do the same thing. And he does. He throws a terrific ball here. Great move by Brandon Lloyd to find the opening in the zone and to beat the play by the safety, Sean Taylor. Good design, threw the ball to the open seam. Got the cheerleaders out of the way there. No collisions on the sideline. Very peaceful here. Dorsey's pumped. That's a great opening drive for him.
And Brian, that is the 14th touchdown reception by a 49er, equaling the total of former 49er Terrell Owens.
T.O. on Letterman last night, making his national debut.
Now the 49ers with as many touchdown catches as T.O., 6th of the year for Brandon Lloyd. Back in San Francisco after the Redskins drove 72 yards on their opening possession. 49ers taking 71 yards downfield and tie the game at 7.
They answered the call. And, you know, I think this team has gotten a lift with Ken Dorsey because he is such a smart kid and he really knows what he's doing. And when a quarterback is smart like that, he gives the whole team more confidence.
Peterson's kickoff taken at the 9 by Liddell Betts. And Betts brings it out to the 28-yard line, a 19-yard return. Ray Wells with the tackle on special teams. We are tied at 7 here in San Francisco. Redskins, 49ers tied at 7 as Ramsey's pass is caught by Lavernius Coles, but he is taken down immediately by the rookie out of Pitt, Shawntae Spencer.
That's the horizontal bop right there. That's what I call the Redskin offense. I mean, they throw the ball to the sideline. You know, it's safe passes. They don't want to take any chances. They want to keep every game close. Ramsey said they're not playing not to lose. It's just conservative.
And they've averaged only 14 points per game. 7 under the league average. On 2nd and 10, getting into the backfield to make the tackle is Tony Brown, a loss of 3 as we check in with Chris Myers. Chris?
Thanks, Kenny. I'm in the stands. They have pretty good seats to the parents, Tom and Maggie, of Ken Dorsey, who just drove the 49ers in for the game-tying touchdown. Your son told us he has a history of upset stomachs. Is it run of the family? You nervous?
Well, we do have upset stomachs in the family, yeah.
He's doing okay so far.
He's doing great. I'm not surprised.
All right, Dad, any advice before the game, fatherly or football-wise?
Set your feet and throw with confidence.
You should have seen them leap out of their seats when he threw the touchdown pass. Enjoyed the game. Have a good Christmas, okay? All right. Kenny?
All right, Chris. Ramsey in trouble. And the pass incomplete. Sounds like Ken Dorsey had a pretty good quarterback coach at home in his dad, Tom.
Well, yeah, you know, and he hasn't been under pressure the way Patrick Ramsey was on this 3rd down. And he's been clean, but you see the blitz right here of San Francisco coming off the left side. Really a blocking error right there, I think, by the fullback and tight end, Chris Cooley. Went to the wrong guy, and he came in and pressured Ramsey on that.
This is the league-leading 91st punt off the foot of Tom Tupa this season. And it's out of bounds right around midfield. Only a 25-yard punt by Tupa, setting up excellent field position for Dorsey and the Niners. Brian, I know you had the opportunity to take in many of the sights around this city yesterday.
Heck, I jumped in the bay yesterday. It was so nice.
I heard.
Yeah, I wanted to see just how cold it is.
Here's Dorsey on 1st down from midfield, and it is picked off by Sean Taylor, the rookie out of Miami. Dorsey's teammate at the University of Miami.
They're not done yet.
This is Lamar Marshall, who took the pitch from Taylor. And Marshall takes it all the way for the touchdown.
I think you said it, Kenny. Sean Taylor, former teammate of Dorsey. He should know better than to throw the ball up for grabs with that ball hawk hanging around. Now, there may be some discussion whether the lateral was a forward lateral after. Here's Taylor right here. He's like in a washing machine right there. getting spun around. Lamar Marshall took it. This defense prides itself, came into the season wanting to be #1 in the entire National Football League, been taking it away all year.
Yeah, that looked like it was forward.
That's worth a review, and Dennis Erickson was all the way out there to the numbers trying to throw that flag. I think Dennis Erickson got a little gassed running out there.
That guy hasn't been on the tight end of Q yet.
You know, under the rules here, you've got to be able to get that flag out there before the Redskins can kick that extra point. Then the play isn't reviewable. Peter Morelli here will take a look.
So the interception by Taylor, and then right around midfield, he attempted a lateral to Lamar Marshall, but it looked like a forward pass, in which case the touchdown will be brought back.
Watch the shot right here that Cornelius Griffin gives to Ken Dorsey as he throws this football. Cornelius Griffin, who has 4 sacks, their best defensive lineman, plants Dorsey into the turf here. That's the shot. That's a solid block of granite hitting him. But here, right here in the middle, Cedric Wilson, 84, never goes for the football. I mean, Dorsey's thrown it to a spot thinking that Wilson can go get it. He's trying to make a play, and Sean Taylor, who he knows very well from his University of Miami days, trying to continue to make a play here. That looked like a forward lateral. That ball, it's where it is released from the hand, not where the actual ball goes. So I think as it's released, I think that ball was going forward. If that's the case, the ball should come all the way back on the other side of the 50. This time, I think Peter Morelli, who's talking upstairs to the replay operator, is probably trying to find exactly where that handoff took place, because that's where the ball will come back to. Sean Taylor just tied Sean Springs for the lead for the Redskins in interceptions with 4. Sean not playing today after that brutal hit he took on Sunday night, out with a concussion today, but he's going to be okay.
So it will either be a Redskins touchdown or Redskins football right around
After
midfield.
reviewing the play, the runner handed the ball forward from the 41 to the 46. The ball would be placed on a 5-yard penalty back to the 41. First down, Washington. San Francisco will not be charged a timeout.
So a 5-yard penalty due to the illegal forward pass, which took place at the 46-yard line. You factor in the penalty, and they'll bring it back to the 41. Good call, good reversal by Pete Morelli.
Yeah, and a good challenge by Dennis Erickson, who was all over them. Dennis Erickson, of course, in the news all week this week about his interest in the Ole Miss job. Actually, right across the street, he met with officials from Ole Miss.
Across the street from the 49ers
hotel right
facility.
across the facility there. Met with him for a couple hours. Mutually agreed it wasn't the right opportunity, right time or place for him.
So now the Redskins, following the interception, start from the 41. Off the play fake. This is Portis out of the backfield. And Portis takes it up to midfield, forced out of bounds by Jamie Winborn after a gain of 9 yards.
Yeah, you know, it hasn't been an easy week. You know, you're watching the 49ers out there. They take the opening drive down and score, and you just wonder to the players, when your head coach, who's got 3 more years on a contract, starts talking to a college about a job, and a job that he liked and likes coaching at college, 17 of his 23 years in college, you got to wonder, you know, does he really want to be here? I think every player, that thought ran through their mind during the week.
2nd and 1, and Portis close to the marker. And the controversy started on Sunday following the 49ers win over Arizona. Their owner, John York, in speaking with the media and referring to some of the assistant coaches on Dennis Erickson's staff, John York said, "I don't think it would be possible to have all of them back." And then Dennis Erickson told us on Thursday, "I don't believe we need any coaching changes to get better."
Well, you know, he's been here 2 years, and, you know, he lost a lot of coaches to Steve Mariucci last year, and he brought a lot of his guys in. He brought Willie Robinson in to coach the defense. Willie Robinson was in Pittsburgh, very content there. He could easily be the best team in the AFC right now, and he wanted to come join Dennis, where, you know, he's coached with him before. In fact, most of Dennis Erickson's assistants have been with him at other stops, whether it's been at Idaho or Wyoming or Seattle or Miami. And he's very comfortable with this group, and it's a good staff. These guys are good teachers.
And Dennis confirmed to us that his contract gives him control over his staff, over who his coaches are.
Well, what that means is if the owner, John York, or the general manager, Terry Donahue, comes to him after the season and says, I want you to fire this and fire this guy, Dennis Erickson could veto that and say no.
Now a 3rd and inches for the Redskins from the San Francisco 49. And Portis picks up the first down. For more on the situation involving Dennis Erickson and his staff, we check in once again with Chris Myers.
Well, a team representative said that they thought this year they had enough talent to win 5 or 6 games. They liken themselves to the Arizona Cardinals, who have more wins than the 49ers, even though the 49ers have beaten them. And John York and Terry Donahue and Dennis Erickson will sit down after the season and decide which coaches need to go. And it's not just coaches, a number of player changes, but that is a hard line in the sand, and that may force the 49ers to try and force out Dennis Erickson if he does not get rid of certain assistant coaches. Okay?
All right, thanks, Chris. Ramsey throws it out of bounds. So, Brian, that's what it's come to here in San Francisco. The 49ers felt like they had enough talent to win 5 or 6 games, and they're comparing themselves to the Arizona Cardinals.
Well, you know, it's interesting because back on November 14th, the Dolphins came here, and they were both, or Carolina came here, and they were both 1-7. Carolina right now has put together a 5-game win streak after that win against San Francisco, and they've gone on. I mean, what's the difference? 2 1-7 teams. One's gone forward, the other one's gone backwards. Carolina is as depleted as any team in this league as far as injuries.
Now a 2nd down and 10 for Ramsey and the Redskins as Ramsey fires to Rod Gardner, and he is close to another Redskins first down. 1 minute remaining, first quarter here in San Francisco. Both teams scoring touchdowns on their opening drives, and the Redskins now trying to capitalize on a 49er turnover as Ken Dorsey was picked off by his former teammate at the University of Miami, Sean Taylor. Taylor's 4th pick this season. Ramsey off to a good start, 6 of 8. And off to Clayton Portis, took a hard hit and able to spin ahead for a gain of 5 as time winds down in this first quarter.
Just watching Ramsey move this football team, throwing the ball down the field a little bit, and asked Joe Gibbs if he thought he waited too long to make the quarterback switch, and he was just happy that Patrick Ramsey hasn't fallen apart. You know, he went and had to play Philadelphia and then Pittsburgh, back-to-back games, maybe the 2 best teams in football, and he was happy that he didn't fall apart. So he's learning, and there's a trust factor that they're gaining amongst each other.
And Ramsey today with a 12-yard touchdown pass to Robert Royal. 49ers followed it up. Ken Dorsey, 17 yards to Brandon Lloyd. We are tied at 7 after 1. LeVar Arrington looking on. He has not yet played today as we check out the first half numbers.
Pretty good offense here by the Redskins. Come in ranked 32nd out of 32 teams in scoring.
That pass dropped. Intended for Robert Royal.
You know, I just watching Patrick Ramsey out here and watching this offense and move the ball here as we just saw. Almost 100 yards of offense in the first quarter. And, you know, it's an amazing statistic. If this offense was just able to generate 21 points a game, that would put them 13th in the league, roughly middle of the pack. This team would be 10-2-1. That's a testimony to how good this defense has played and how competitive they have been all year long.
They've scored more than 18 points only once. 2 weeks ago, a 31-7 win over the New York Giants. Now 3rd down and 5. Redskins have to get to the 27 for a first down. Ramsey looking for Lavernius Coles, and it's through his hands.
You know, they went for the deep ball the first time all day. They threw the ball down the field, and he missed it. He had plenty of protection here, too. I mean, one of the problems has been with the Redskins has been protection. 49ers come with the blitz. Portis picks that up. Good pocket there. Going for Lavernius Coles, who had a big day last week. 100 yards of receiving. Just missed the deep ball.
So now Jeff Chandler will attempt a 49-yard field goal. His career best is 47. This is his first field goal attempt as a Redskin, replacing the injured John Hall, and he nails it against his former team. So Chandler with the longest field goal of his NFL career, hitting from 49 yards out. Early in his second quarter, the Redskins score 3 following the turnover and lead by 3.
This Fox NFL special is brought to you by Cadillac and the all-new STS. Breakthrough. By Heineken, it's all about the beer. Heineken. By Radio Shack, you've got questions, we've got answers. And by America Online. Want a better internet? You belong at America Online.
Is it really December?
I didn't know the weather could be this nice in San Francisco in December, really. That's a Golden Gate Bridge there. You know, interesting thing about that bridge, they never stop painting that bridge. You know, to keep it that color and keep it looking that good, there's always somebody that's got a brush painting that bridge. Imagine that job. Wake up, and it's like Groundhog Day every day. Red paintbrush, you're on the bridge. That's a scary job.
Arnaz Battle on the return. Were they out there painting yesterday while you were swimming under the bridge?
Yeah, I saw them up there. Yeah, the binoculars out.
Well, a lot of football coming up tomorrow on Fox, beginning with the pregame show at noon Eastern. Many of you will see Donovan McNabb and the 12-1 Eagles as they take on the Cowboys. Rams looking to stay alive in the NFC playoff race. Rams and Cardinals. Check local listings for the game and time in your area tomorrow on Fox.
All right, Kenny, 10 seconds. Give me the NFC playoff picture. Can you? Well, how much time do you need to figure that out?
Well, I'll tell you this, the 49ers are the only team eliminated.
There we
so
go.
Far.
That's a good 10-second promo.
From the 26, here's Hicks. And Maurice gaining 2 out to the 28-yard line. 27 NFL teams still alive, including everybody except San Francisco in the NFC. You have your division leaders on the left, the current wild card leaders in the middle, and everybody else on the right.
This is what I know. I know the Philadelphia Eagles are a good football team. That one, I can say that. I watched the Vikings on film this week. You know, the offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan, came under fire because Randy Moss threw an interception on a reverse pass. I mean, everybody has some problems outside of Philadelphia.
Now second down and 8. And again, good penetration into the offensive backfield by Cornelius Griffin and Joe Salavea.
You know, we talked to Cornelius Griffin yesterday, and you know, he was up with the Giants for 4 years, and he was a free agent here, and he said what he wanted, when he was looking for free agency, he wanted a defense that was going to attack. And when he talked to Greg Blasch, the defensive line coach, and Greg Williams, the coordinator, they said, look, we're going to make you play in the other team's backfield. That's our style of play. And he said, where do I sign? And that's Greg Blasch, the defensive line coach, who's done a great job with his mechanics and everybody's mechanics up front.
LeVar Arrington has checked in. Third down and 11. Dorsey complete. Second reception for the tight end, Johnson. And he's tackled by Adi Jamal about a yard shy of a first down.
Well, this is how this Redskin defense has responded this year. When somebody hits them in the mouth, like the 49ers did on the opening drive, they've tightened up and they've stiffened up. They did against Green Bay, against Philadelphia, against a lot of good offenses in football. Sometimes they need to be jolted, and then they come together. That's Greg Williams giving everybody the business on the sideline right now. He coaches them hard. He's not leaving them anything, not letting anything go here before the season ends.
Andy Lee's first punt is down at the 37-yard line by Richard Siegler.
That's the bucket right there. You know, it would be a helmet, but it's too big for a helmet. That's a bucket right there, Ray Brown, who is the oldest lineman in this league. Played here for 6 years. Never missed a game here for the 49ers. Went to Detroit after this with Steve Mariucci for a couple of years and came here and has been anchoring this offensive line all year at an unprecedented age of 42.
Portis out to the 44. Not only is he the oldest lineman in the league, he's the oldest lineman to play in the NFL in 83 years.
Who keeps that stat? Here he is. I mean, just pulling here, trying to cut off, the defensive end. And I tell you, they had a competition during the preseason here with him and Brandon Noble, defensive tackle, as to who was the most flexible person on the Redskins. He could do a split. It's probably not something everybody wants to watch, but he could get down and do a split at age 42.
2nd and 3. Derek Smith hitting Portis after a gain of just 1. How about you, Chris Myers? Can you do a split?
No, but I'm a very flexible guy, depending upon the situation. But actually, I talked to Ray Brown, and what he said, the key to his longevity at age 42 at that position and the flexibility that Brian was talking about, Kenny, was his wife got him into Pilates about a year or so ago. He said he bought into it as something to spend time with her so she'd get off his back. And he said the stretching and flexibility in that prevents a lot of nagging injuries, and that's the reason he can hang around.
Well, not only that, Chris, but he can chew gum and do Pilates at the same time and anchor the offensive line like he's doing here.
Now 3rd down and 2. Ramsey complete for a first down. Rod Gardner. So is that the key to a successful marriage? You do Pilates together?
Well, yeah. You got to spend time. You got to take care of the spouse. Watch him here. Watch him take care of Engelberger. Engelberger tries to spin on him, which is a hard thing for anybody. There's the flexibility, though. Able to push him by Ramsey here. Offensive linemen's weapons are their hands and their arms, and he might have a set of the strongest arms pins in the NFL. I mean, he's just a solid guy, and he's a leader. I mean, he can help out the young guys, and they're not going to get him out of there. I mean, Ray Brown wants to come back here and play again next year.
From the 42-yard line, Ramsey looking for Lavernius, calls Rod Gardner there as well, and Gardner makes a diving catch. Coles and Gardner both in the vicinity, and it's Gardner on the 39-yard pass play as the Redskins take it down to the 3-yard line.
Look at this explosive offense, and the key here is watch Ray Brown. Watch the excellent job on Engelberger on the outside. Nice pocket for Ramsey. Never want 2 receivers in the same spot, but Rod Gardner's like, heck, I haven't gotten a ball in weeks, man. That ball's out there in my vicinity. I'm laying out for it. That looked like one of those mallards. That Patrick Ramsey might have been shooting and duck hunting out down there in Ruston, Louisiana.
Gardner with 4 catches, 84 yards in this first half as Clinton Portis takes it down to the 2-yard line, setting up 2nd down and goal.
Well, what you can see here is development and trust with Patrick Ramsey, because they would not let him throw the ball down the field like this against Philadelphia, against Pittsburgh. They thought, okay, here comes these great defenses and zone blitzes and all this kind of stuff, and they just wouldn't let him do it. And today, they're letting him throw the ball down the field. They're taking shots. And really, this is what he did last year and the year before with Steve Spurrier.
2nd and goal. Portis lined up behind the fullback, Mike Sellers. Portis. Anthony Adams, the first 49er, in on the tackle as Portis took it down to the 1-yard line.
He's doing a good job today of getting the plays in. You can see just a much better operation. They struggled with it all year, getting the play in on time. Getting the plays out there quicker. He said it's something that he's had to work on. A little delay here. It looked like Anthony Adams with the 49ers late getting up off the ground.
Just put his helmet on now. 3rd and goal. Taylor Jacobs in motion. Ramsey. And he throws it out of the end zone.
Well, that's a disappointing series. I mean, to get the ball all the way down inside the 3-yard line and to not get anything here. It's good defense by the 49ers. He starts with pressure on the outside. That's Jeff Ulbrich there. Gets pressure on Ramsey. But, I mean, Taylor Jacobs is running the ball running his route out of bounds. Dennis Erickson will take it. He'll take that goal line stand.
So now Jeff Chandler, who hit from 49 moments ago, out to attempt a 20-yard field goal. Chandler with his 4th team this season. Spent some time in training camp with Jacksonville. 2 games with Carolina. Brought in for a week by St. Louis. And now the 3rd kicker for the Redskins this season. And the play blown dead. Penalty markers prior to the snap.
You don't, well,
Prior to the snap, ball start. Number 66, offense. 5-yard penalty, still fourth down.
that's Derek Dockery, the left guard. You know, everybody's getting used to Chandler's cadence here and how he wants to, once the ball snapped, but even kickers like revenge. You know, I mean, Chandler here was drafted by the 49ers, kicked here for a year, let go last year. He comes back here to Candlestick Park and Monster Park, whatever they call this place now. And, you know, he wants to put one up on the 49ers.
So now a 25-yard attempt following the penalty. And Chandler is now 2 for 2. So the Redskins extend their lead here in the second quarter. It is now Washington 13, San Francisco 7.
This Fox NFL special is brought to you by the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American Revolution.
Back in San Francisco, Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger, Chris Myers. An 8-play, 56-yard drive, culminating with the 25-yard field goal by Chandler. And the key play, that 39-yard hookup from Patrick Ramsey to Rod Gardner, which brought the Redskins down to the 49ers' 3-yard line. Redskins leading by 6. A line drive kickoff by Chandler, taken at the 2 by Arnaz Battle. There is a flag as Battle is brought down at the 27 following a 24-yard return.
Not a lot of penalties today, Kenny. You know, and that's always a good thing. You look for two teams that aren't going to the postseason, and sometimes these games can get a little ragged, but
Offside.
well played.
36, kicking team. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
Yeah, I think everybody's just trying to get used to the new kicker. I mean, it's pretty interesting. I was talking to the special team coach, Danny Smith of the Redskins, and the kicker that was going to replace Joe Hall, who got hurt last week for the 3rd time this year. And, you know, John Hall out with a groin pull and a hamstring and all these other things. Is Ola Kimron was their kicker. He's from Sweden. And Joe Gibbs said, don't go back to Sweden. He goes, I'm going back for Christmas, but I can come back if you need me. Well, he couldn't get his visa. His visa expired. And so the Redskins were like, well, what are we going to do? And they said, well, we can get him back here, but he's not going to get back here until a couple hours before kickoff. And Joe Gibbs said, I need a kicker because I'm not going to kick. And so they're like, the first guy that they were able to get was Jeff Chandler.
Think there's a direct flight from Stockholm to San Francisco?
Well, it may be, but it's a long flight. I know that.
Well, Brian, I know you'll be heading down to Dallas for the SBC Cotton Bowl on New Year's Day. Tennessee taking on Texas A&M.
Great tradition, you know, because you wake up on New Year's Day. You know, you're feeling refreshed because you didn't have a big night and not too much celebrating. And you wake up refreshed, and the first game you get on New Year's Day is the Cotton Bowl. It's a tradition. January 1st, first game, Cotton Bowl parade downtown Dallas. Let's go to the Cotton Bowl for the game.
You want to have a big night, New Year's Eve?
I don't think I'm going to make it to midnight.
Here's Cedric Wilson on the return for the 49ers, still on his feet. And finally knocked out of bounds at the 37-yard line, a 30-yard return by Wilson. Patrick Ramsey and the Redskins out to a 6-point lead midway through the second quarter.
That's the rookie right there, Sean Taylor. Got his lip busted up on that last kickoff coverage. You know, you always want to see this two teams kind of out there in the playoffs right here. Got his lip busted up pretty good. Looks like he's in the corner getting attended to in a boxing match right now.
Took a hard hit from Keith Lewis, so Taylor replaced by Todd Franz. Maurice Hicks, first down carry. And Hicks takes it out to the 43-yard line for a gain of 6.
Now Taylor go in and get that thing probably stitched up. And I expect to see him back. That Maurice Hicks, though, down there, he's a tough guy now, too. I mean, he's a guy that has just survived. Been over to NFL Europe twice. Came out of North Carolina A&T where he had a knee injury his senior year. He was thought to be one of the top 5 backs in the country. Blew out his knee, kind of rehabilitated for a year with the Bears. But this guy is from Emporia, Virginia. Grew up a Cowboy fan. You know, I mean, back there it's either Cowboys or Redskins. And so his family split down the middle.
Dorsey took a hit, and it is is picked off by Ron Warner. And Warner takes it all the way down inside the 10-yard line.
Well, the 2 interceptions of Dorsey today have been a direct result of the pressure from the number 2 defense in this National Football League. Watch the pressure that comes this time. You get Marcus Washington coming on the inside. He gets untouched. He goes right for the arm. You know, he's not going to hit Dorsey. He's going for the arm because he knows if he gets the arm, the ball is going to pop up. Smart move by Marcus Washington here.
And, Brian, it's the first career interception for Warner, a guy who has been cut 7 times the last 4 years by 4 different teams, making a name for himself this year in Washington.
Look at Greg Blash and Greg Williams there. I mean, they're like a couple of pals over there. They're high-fiving each other. Greg Blash, of course, the former defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears. They made that run to the playoffs a couple of years ago.
Portis taking it all the way down to the 3-yard line on 1st and goal following the interception by Warner. Drafted by New Orleans. He spent some time with Tampa Bay, played with Winnipeg in the Canadian Football League, and he comes up with the 2nd pick of the day for the Washington Redskins.
Redskins looking for an offensive explosion here in this first half today.
Remember, they average 14 points per game. Already at 13. Portis tackled back at the 4 by Jeff Ulbrich. Loss of 1.
You know, you look at this team, and they got great field position for the 2nd time today because of a turnover. The defense has been getting the ball back to the offense all year. You know, and they haven't really capitalized, and that's a frustrating thing for a defense. But Greg Williams told us something interesting. He said that the model for this team is the Baltimore Ravens of 2000, when for 5 weeks the offense didn't score a touchdown, yet that team still won the Super Bowl that year. This team is together, and they're not split because the offense hasn't been productive.
3rd and goal. Ramsey in trouble. Shovel pass to Chris Cooley. And he's brought down outside the 2-yard line. So once again, after the Redskins are down near the goal line, the 49ers defense able to hold, and the Redskins send out the field goal unit.
Well, you know, the Redskins are a running team. Joe Gibbs wants to run the ball, and, you know, he's got Clinton Portis there. But they're expecting run. You know, and that's when you kind of want to change it up and throw the ball. Throw the ball into the end zone here.
Chandler has already connected twice this quarter from 49 and 25. This a 20-yard attempt. Chandler is now 3 for 3, and somewhere in Sweden right now, Ola Kimron is thinking that could have been me.
Yeah. Well, visa problems can keep you off track a little bit.
Well, the Indianapolis Colts will be in action tomorrow night against the Baltimore Ravens. How about this triple threat?
Well, it is. You know, it's a triplet. You know, it used to be the triplet was the quarterback, the wide receiver, and the running back. In Indianapolis, it's the all-world Peyton Manning, who's the #1 story in this league right now, amongst a lot of great stories. And in this receiving corps, Brandon Stokely, the 3rd receiver now, trying to get to that 10th touchdown this year. 3 receivers with a chance to go over 1,000 yards. I mean, it's phenomenal. And the Baltimore Ravens tonight have a chance to say something about that. I'm sure that Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and those guys are saying Peyton Manning's going to get that record over our dead body.
Chandler's kickoff taken at the 6. This is Cedric Wilson. Cuts to the outside. And James Thrash takes him out of bounds at the 42-yard line. A 36-yard return by Wilson. Well, tomorrow on America's #1 pregame show, Mike Tice, their head coach, along with Corey Chavis, talk about Minnesota trying to avoid a repeat of last year's collapse. Jets quarterback Chad Pennington goes 10 yards with Terry Bradshaw. It's Fox NFL Sunday tomorrow at noon, 9 a.m. Pacific. on Fox. From the 42-yard line. First and 10 for the 49ers. Ken Dorsey has been picked off twice in this quarter. First carry today for Kevin Barlow. One of those interceptions by Sean Taylor, who was shaken up. And for more, we check in with Chris Myers. Chris?
Yeah, Kenny, he had a cut in his upper lip. They took him to the locker room, 4 stitches. They think that he'll be okay and be able to play in the second half. And the 49ers facing this Redskin defense, along with Sean Taylor, will have to keep a stiff upper lip.
Okay. Todd Franz in there for him right now at safety. They already lost Matt Bowen back there this year.
And Maurice Hicks only 11 yards on 7 carries, so Kevin Barlow getting an opportunity. Replaced by Hicks last week due to Barlow's concussion. And this is Barlow again. He had some things to say heading into the game last week about his own offensive line. He said he was joking later on, tried to backtrack, but when he was asked by a reporter what the 49ers need to do in the upcoming draft, he said, draft 5 new offensive linemen.
Yeah, and that didn't sit well with Scott Gregg right there, you know, and some guys that are developing. Quaim Harris at left tackle, guys that are learning to play together. They're playing without their Pro Bowl center. Jeremy Newberry, Brock Gutierrez in there right now. Newberry on injured reserve. Justin Smiley, a rookie, working in there at right guard with Eric Heitman. I mean, they've been playing a lot of young players trying to get better.
With an empty backfield on 3rd and 5, Dorsey's pass intended for Wilson, incomplete.
It's just an unwritten rule that you don't, I mean, even if the offensive line is struggling, you don't ever criticize your own teammates. And that didn't win anybody to Kevin Barlow over when he said that. In fact, he had to go into spin control. And I don't think Dennis Erickson hesitated a second during the week to start Maurice Hicks, a free agent, over a guy, Kevin Barlow, who they paid a lot of money to be the mail carrier here.
In fact, after the game last week, Fred Beasley, the fullback, told the team that Hicks ran with the courage the 49ers have lacked with Barlow in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Fred Beasley's the leader of his team, wasn't afraid to speak up and say that, which you want to hear from a guy like Beasley.
First punt return of the season for Antonio Brown. There is a flag. 2 flags come out as Brown, second-year receiver out of West Virginia, returned it 4 yards.
You know you're having a bad season when the coach, Dennis Erickson, says, hey, our punter's been good.
Yeah.
Andy Lee and our kicker, Todd Peterson, he's been good. You know, when you start talking about the kickers first before the rest of the team, you know that could be a bad season.
During the return, illegal block in the back, 27, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
That's on Walt Harris. Well, in case you haven't seen much of the Redskins, the headlines in the offseason hail the return of a legend, as well as 2 major offensive acquisitions. Quarterback Mark Brunell and running back Clinton Portis. This is first carry as a Redskin, went for 64 yards against Tampa Bay. Then Patrick Ramsey replaced Brunell. Defense, the story. Under Greg Williams and Greg Block, ranked 2nd in the National Football League on the defensive side, but the offense has struggled.
Joe told us last night that I know what will be written about us if we lose, and I hope they don't write it. Well, they've been writing it with the losses, but he says that he has stamped his guys, that he wants to be here next year and to build this thing back.
This is Portis. Takes it back to the line of scrimmage, no gain, setting up 2nd and 10.
And Joe Gibbs was very blunt about the valuation process. If the guys don't play hard right here, this game, the next 2 games, we don't want them, you know, if they're not going to play this game like we're going to the playoffs, and this is for all the marbles, then they're not a part of this thing. And I think Joe has that type of power. He's got that type of support from Dan Snyder to go put the guys on the first Greyhound out of town.
Now 2nd down and 10, Redskins from their own 5-yard line. Ramsey throwing out of the end zone to Cooley, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 10. And Joe Gibbs told us he does not have many good memories here in this stadium. 0-5 lifetime. In fact, his last game before he retired following the '92 season, a playoff game right here in San Francisco.
Yeah, they lost that game, 20-13. They had beaten Minnesota in the game before that. And he talked about, in fact, it was amazing. He can remember the play that they fumbled on, 2 T70 counter gap. This is 13 years ago. He can recall the call. Coaches are weird like that.
Now 3rd down and 5. Redskins need to get to the 15 for a first down. Ramsey's throw is high, intended for James Thrash, so the Redskins will punt it away.
That's a good defensive series by San Francisco. And, you know, you look at a team that has got 2 wins against one team, Arizona, 2 overtime wins. And the fans that are here, they're chanting defense. They got them backed up. And, you know, for a couple of moments here, you kind of flash back to how glorified this organization was. And this one just got blocked.
Tupa's punt was blocked by Lewis. He kicks it out of the end zone. It'll be a safety.
No, what that does, it makes it a 1-score game. You know, it makes it 16-9 and puts the offense the chance with the ball. And the fans have something to cheer about here with 7 shopping days to Christmas left.
Well, Keith Lewis, who blocked 7 punts in college at the University of Oregon, blocks Tupa's punt 7.
Wow.
Illegally kicking a ball. Result of the play is a safety.
Lewis right here coming free right here, just falls over the protector. Heck of an athletic play going after that ball. Ran Todd Franz over right there, and that's a smart move by Tom Tupa just to get out of the end zone. That's a great individual play by the rookie. You know, in teams like this that are struggling with 2 wins and all the rumors about the coach this week and everything, all you're looking for is a spark. Guys that just want to play hard and play the game the right way. And one thing about Dennis Erickson, and I think in watching their win against Arizona, you put the tape on, the guys played the game the right way. They played it with emotion. They played it with intelligence, and, you know, they earned that win a week ago.
And that was the common theme in talking with 49er players and coaches throughout the week. They play hard. They play 60 minutes every week, despite their 2-11 record.
Dennis Erickson's defensive coordinator, Willie Robinson, who was with Pittsburgh just a year ago, but had success all over, everywhere he's been. He said that this is the most fun he's ever had coaching, only because of the way the guys have responded under all of the duress and everything that's been placed upon his team from, you know, what the ownership is and the coach is going to be here and all those kind of things. The guys have still found a way to get themselves ready to get excited on Sunday or Saturday.
Jimmy Williams on the return. Williams brings it out to the 48-yard line. 15 yards on the return. So the 49ers, who pulled to within 7 with that safety, with excellent field position, with 2:01 remaining in this first half. Sean Taylor has returned for the Redskins. 49ers will start from their own 48-yard line.
Redskins defense today gave up an opening drive for a touchdown, 9 plays, 66 yards, and since then they've held San Francisco to 9 plays, 3 and outs, 21 total yards.
From the 48 on first down, complete to Hicks out of the backfield. A first down and more as Hicks is taken down at the 36 after a pickup of 16 yards. 2-minute warning as the 49ers look to tie the score.
This Fox NFL special is brought to you by Sprint PCS Picture Mail. It's easy for football fans to shoot, send, and share their own football moments.
Coming up, the Visa Halftime Report with JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. Steelers over the Giants earlier, and the Fox Sports Ticker. That's all coming up on the Visa Halftime Report.
That's a rare sight to see LeVar Arrington out there on the football field. Only 2 snaps so far today, playing the left end. Just rushing him here from that spot.
First and 10, 49ers from the 36. Dorsey changing the play. And now the give to Hicks. And And Hicks tackled back at the 38. LeVar Arrington was right there.
I'm telling you, that's like 10 weeks of built-up aggression that LeVar Arrington had right here. Watch him drop this shoulder. Kyle Kozar just got buckled. And I don't care who it was in the league. LeVar Arrington was going to hit something. You know, the opposite side of LeVar, I see him out there in the meeting last night. He's out in the lobby of the hotel playing the piano. You know, he just got some Christmas tunes going. Ask him if he's got a wedding song. He's going to get married this offseason. Ask him if he's picked out his wedding. Playing the piano right there. You know, soft-spoken guy. Put him in a uniform. Take him out of the lineup for 10 weeks and let him just go explode into somebody.
Had not played since week 2 against the Giants. So anxious to get back in. We would see him week in, week out on the sidelines right next to Greg Williams.
Got the tape on the helmet, though. Yeah, he's ready for action.
Loss of 2 on that previous play. Now 2nd down and 12 from the Redskins 38. Dorsey complete. Curtis Conway, only his 2nd catch the last 6 weeks. And the 12-year veteran takes it down to the 32-yard line. 3rd down and 7. 3 receivers set. Conway split to the left. Lloyd to the right. Wilson in the slot. And penalty flags prior to the snap.
One of the things that Greg Williams hasn't been able to do.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 77, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
One of the things that Greg Williams hasn't been able to do, he's doing right now, is plays his 2 fastest pass rushers. Chris Clemens at right end, LeVar at left end. LeVar going out right now. Hitting speed off the edge. He's had to, it's always amazing is that they've been able to stuff the run, best in the league, lowest yards per rush in the league. They're able to zone blitz and get pressure on the quarterback. They've been able to double team the team's wide receivers. I mean, they took the ball from Philadelphia last week. The last 5 possessions of Philadelphia, they made them punt the last 5 times.
Following the penalty from the 38, pass is caught by Brandon Lloyd, and he dives and is close to a 1st down. Excellent awareness from Lloyd, diving ahead towards the 1st down marker.
Great throw by Dorsey that time.
And he did pick up the 1st down.
And a long throw, too. I'm never going to make any comparisons to Joe Montana with anybody that ever plays this game. But if you watch just the demeanor of Ken Dorsey, you watch his facial expressions, the calmness with which he plays the game, that is pretty similar.
He thought he was Joe Montana when he was in the backyard in nearby Orinda with his brother Adam. Adam was Jerry Rice. Dorsey was Joe Montana.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what you do when you're a kid.
Setting up the screen to Hicks. And he's tackled by Arrington at the 24. Timeout called by the 49ers. Now for the Niners, the season started with an offensive void to fill as Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens went elsewhere. A season of frustration has had some bright spots, though. Eric Johnson setting a single-season franchise record for catches by a tight end and a pair of dramatic overtime victories against their division rivals, the Arizona Cardinals. Both wins by the same exact score, 31-28 in overtime, twice against the Cards.
They need to schedule the Cardinals more often.
Yes.
It's a good spot of the field to go to Eric Johnson. You know, I mean, he was a wide receiver at Yale, converted, you know, gained 25 pounds after his senior year. And, you know, that was Bill Walsh's last draft pick, was Eric Johnson. He was right here on the line, the end of the line of scrimmage.
And he was a 7th round pick back in 2001. That pass intended for Curtis Conway.
That time they had Eric Johnson stay in the block to double team on LeVar Arrington, trying to give Ken Dorsey just as much protection as possible. Here he is. Well, he thought that Arrington was going to come and took him. And he said that was going to be a delay, really. I mean, they were working that on practice where the tight end just sort of blocks, and then he delays late over the middle, lets the linebackers clear out. About the easiest route in football to run and to complete.
The only tight ends in the entire NFL with more catches than Johnson this year are Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates. Pretty good company. We're down in 8 Dorsey over the middle. It's picked off. The third interception for the Redskins. Antonio Pierce. Pierce down the sidelines, and he takes it all the way 79 yards for the touchdown.
That's what #1 defenses do in the National Football League, and it doesn't matter if it's an upset Ken Dorsey, if it's a playoff-bound Philadelphia Eagle team, if it's a 12-1 Pittsburgh Steelers team. That's what you do when you're the #1 ranked defense. You take the ball in your own hands. Last week, Ken Dorsey, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Today, in the first half,
We scored.
3 interceptions. That's what happens to young quarterbacks in this league. It can be an up and down roller coaster.
Jeff Chandler for the extra point. So for Antonio Pierce, his 3rd career interception, his first NFL touchdown.
Here's Pierce right here in the middle. I tell you, he knocked the receiver down. All legal. I mean, was he in the air, though? I mean, that's what Ken Dorsey was so upset about. He's going to Cedric Wilson over the middle. Pierce pummeled him coming across the middle. Take nothing away from Antonio Pierce. The voting for the Pro Bowl is this week, and he should be voted to the Pro Bowl. He has been, last week against Philadelphia, the Eagles get the ball down the 8-yard line. He strips the ball out of T.O.'s hands, stops him from scoring. Big plays throughout the year from that guy.
Joe Gibbs says Antonio Pierce makes the best adjustments of any middle linebacker he has ever been around.
And we talked to him a couple weeks ago before the Philadelphia game, and he brought the playbook in, and the thing looked like a medical school text. You know, like Grey's Anatomy. The thing was thick. He's got a little oxygen going right now. It's a long run. Look at that. First defensive touchdown in 30 games. That was the longest active streak in the NFL without a defensive touchdown.
And remember, they almost had one earlier today when Sean Taylor's lateral to Lamar Marshall was ruled a forward pass.
Antonio Pierce was supposed to be the backup to Mike Barrow, middle linebacker this year. Barrow hasn't gotten on the field, and Pierce has taken advantage of his opportunity.
And Lamar Marshall was supposed to back up LeVar Arrington.
Yeah, well, you know, that's what happens in this league. You know, it's you get a chance, and sometimes you never know. That's what the double-edged sword about injuries are, Kenny, is you never know the backup if he comes in. You get a chance to play better than the starter, you can take that job. It happens all the time.
And Pierce, one of those undrafted free agents you were talking about out of the University of Arizona.
Well, you know, the one thing that Joe Gibbs said is that, you know, with Pierce, with Lamar Marshall, one thing that we've done getting ready for next year is we've built depth. We've got guys we know we can count on to go in there and play as a starter or a backup.
Coming into the weekend, Steelers the #1 defense, Redskins #2. Steelers gave up 278 yards to the Giants earlier today. So if the Redskins allow 217 yards or less in this game, they would be, at least for the moment, #1. And that was Greg Williams' goal right from the outset, right? Since early January, when Joe Gibbs flew up to Buffalo on a private plane, Williams had been let go by the Bills as head coach, and one of Joe Gibbs' first priorities was to get Greg Williams' signature on a contract.
Greg Williams does some odd things, but one of the weird things he does, he collects playbooks.
Yes.
You know, some people collect stamps, whatever. He collects playbooks and studies playbooks in his spare time.
Final half minute of this first half as Dorsey airs one out, and it is nearly intercepted by Fred Smoot. Brandon Lloyd was the intended receiver.
I tell you, Ken Dorsey has been on his Watsu just about every single time he's dropped back to throw the ball this year, or today. That's not been easy. Watch, here takes another shot right here. Boom. And that's some whiplash right there. I'm glad we got that interview with his parents, Tom and Maggie,
Yes.
and early today.
Now for you, Brian, that's 2 weeks in a row. You had Chris McAllister on his McAllister last week, and Ken Dorsey on his Watsu today.
Well, as a Watsu, That's hydrotherapy, you know. I mean, you go to some of these funny spas, and they can do some strange things in the water, stretch you out.
Did you watch Sue in the water yesterday here in San Francisco?
No, I got out of there, man. That thing is freezing.
Timeout, Washington.
Redskins call timeout. There is a flag. 24 seconds remaining in the half.
Okay, you're talking about a Watsu. You know, Watsu is when they push you in like a whirlpool, like heated water, and they stretch you out in the water. I mean, it's new therapy. You know, like all these athletes out here, $1 million athletes, you know, $1 million bodies, all these kinds. You got to take care of it, and it's a long season, and so sometimes you got to get in the water, do a Watsu, and you got to kind of get stretched out. Imagine like you're in the water, Kenny, and you get that arm pulled back. You know, it puts you, takes the gravity away from it. It's a very relaxing thing.
53 offense. 15-yard penalty, 4th down.
Now do you go right from the Watsu to the hyperbaric chamber?
Well, hyperbaric chamber is where you get your mind right. You go in there and you do your meditations, you do your incantations, you know, you start doing your psycho-cybernetics, see good things happen. You know, the Redskins, they see themselves as the #1 defense. Now, see, now that's not watching because you're not in the water. You know, that's like Thai kicking right there. You know, that's the Thai pads. You know, I used to spend out there with the 49ers for years. That's part of some Thai boxing. You know, you get the pads out there and you hit them with your knees and your elbows and your hands, and you get yourself all limbered up and warmed up.
Andy Lee punting from his own 10. And a fair catch called for by Antonio Brown following the 36-yard punt. And Dorsey looks to have a problem with 1 or 2 of the fingers on his left hand.
Yeah. He's just wondering, we just saw him. Just watched him, you know, just getting banged around.
By the way,
there.
Cody Pickett is the backup quarterback. Yep. Tim Rattay inactive due to the foot injury. So Cody Pickett, the #2 quarterback, the rookie out of Washington, for the 49ers today.
Like the Redskins are going to take a shot here with 16 seconds. Everybody lined up. Out wide.
And Ramsey airing one out. And he overthrows the intended receiver, Lavernius Coles.
You know, he's from Ruston, Virginia, Louisiana. You know, and he went to the Manning camp when he was a kid. And he was talking about when he was just a student there and Peyton was teaching. He had a stronger arm than Peyton Manning when he was a kid. But he said, you know, Peyton was just so intense even at that time in his career, before he was on par and on pace to break Dan Marino's touchdown in a season record. And he just sort of demonstrated that arm there.
He was a camper there for 2 years and then a member of the staff. Told us the key to Peyton Manning's success, his work ethic and his accuracy. Portis down to the 47 as this first half comes to an end. So the Redskins, who had scored only 18 points in a game once all year, they scored 31 2 weeks ago, 23 in the first half today. They lead the 49ers 23-9.
The Visa Halftime Report is brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
Why is Washington's defense #1 in the NFC? Antonio Pierce showing you why. Picking off a Dorsey pass, returning it for the touchdown. Skins ahead at the half, 23-9. That over San Francisco as we welcome you back to Los Angeles. Studio A and the Fox NFL Sunday crew on this Fox NFL special. What the Redskins comfortably ahead. Jimmy, actually some opportunities the Redskins could have taken advantage of even more so. But what about that forward pass or handoff?
Yeah, Redskin fans may be wondering about the forward lateral or technically an illegal forward pass after the Sean Taylor interception. You can hand the ball forward or you can have the forward pass only behind the line of scrimmage. And so when he handed the ball forward here, you know, in essence, what he was doing is the technical deal is it's an illegal forward pass. Cost him 4 points.
Well, you know, you talk about this defense, and Greg Williams is an obvious great choice by Joe Gibbs. Greg Blosh is another guy, former Chicago Bear defense coordinator. He's done a great job there. Sean Taylor, we're starting to find out the kind of player he is. Cornelius Griffin came over from the Giants. Been a great addition for them. Washington, Pierce at linebacker. Smoot, Springs not in today. So this defense, although a lot of the names you don't know, Pierce, Washington, great players.
All right, speaking of great players, Philadelphia certainly has been playing. Make that. Pittsburgh has been playing extremely good football throughout the season. They did so earlier today in a close affair with the Giants.
NFL, get ready. Rookie of the year. You heard it right here. All right, there's a little razzle-dazzle. There's a pitch to Antoine Randall. Throws it down. Vernon Hanks takes it in. Touchdown, 7-all. Then Roethlisberger. Antoine Randall 35-yard touchdown. That versus the blitz. It's 17-14. Good game for Eli Manning here. Little 1-yard touchdown pass. It's 24-23, and now Barber in touchdown. It's 30-26 Giants. But here come the Steelers. Antoine Randall up. Out jumps the defensive back, 36-yard gain, and then Jerome Bettis in touchdown from 1 yard out. Steelers now 13-1. They win 33-30 over the Giants.
Jerome Bettis, 36 carries for 140 yards and a touchdown. But most of his conversation after the game centered on the outstanding rookie, Ben Roethlisberger.
Ben out there, man, he's been playing amazing football. And you know what? You do forget he's a rookie because, you know, he's playing so special and so poised. I mean, he's not rattled. He throws an interception. He's coming back talking to me about some other plays. I mean, you know, and that's what you look for in a leader. I mean, he's our field general, and, you know, he's definitely been there, and he proved it today.
Would have been easy to get complacent going against the Giants. Bill Cowher said it was a trap kind of game for them today.
Well, when you've got a guy like Jerome Bettis, I want to talk about him for a second. In his 12th year, unlike an Emmitt Smith, who you rarely saw Emmitt get hit clean. You rarely saw a Barry Sanders get hit clean. Jerome Bettis runs to darkness. He is an impact football player. Typically, when a player gets to his 12th year and he's that kind of player, he takes that physical toll. It's a half a step slower. Can't stay healthy. The kind of year he's having defies logic.
Yeah, and Terry, this Roethlisberger, now he's getting all kinds of accolades, but today, it wasn't just 18 or 19 passes. You know, he threw the ball 28 times for 316 yards, and he made some plays. His field presence was unbelievable. Under duress, he's able to find the receivers and get the ball on target down the field. I mean, he really made some great plays.
He's a young man, but he's been wearing these sweaters that Howie has on all year, so that has made him tough.
He's a man's man.
Coming up tomorrow on the Man's Show, indeed. It will be an outstanding show here on Fox NFL Sunday. We cover a lot of territory. Here's an example of what we'll talk about tomorrow.
Tomorrow on Fox NFL Sunday. It's been a roller coaster ride for the Minnesota Vikings all season long. After a red-hot start, many's dropped 5 of their last 7. Can the Vikings turn it around, or are they on the verge of another collapse? And the would be nowhere without CHAD Chad. Pennington's got the Jets cruising towards the playoffs. But first, Chad goes 10 yards with Terry. Then, we'll have the complete breakdown of the playoff picture. And don't blink, because you'll miss our NFL Rapid Fire session. All that, plus the inside scoop from Jay Glazer and Frank's Picks and Jillian's weather. Tomorrow on the one and only Ford Fox NFL Sunday.
All right, and coming up game-wise tomorrow, the Philadelphia Eagles looking to secure a home field throughout, hosting the Cowboys, and the Rams still in a wild card hunt. They are taking on the Cardinals. Visa halftime continues after this.
Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
Now. Yeah, the revolution starts now in your own backyard, in your own hometown. So what you do is standing around, just follow your heart, your revolution starts now. Yeah, the revolution starts now in your own backyard, in your own hometown. What you do is stand around, just follow your heart. Revolution
First half sights and sounds coming to you in Fox Sports high definition as we welcome you back here in San Francisco. Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger, and Brian, the bad news for the 49ers today, the Arizona Cardinals are not here.
Yeah, they need to schedule the Cardinals because really the Redskins, it starts with defense, and they showed that in the first half. They smothered San Francisco after the opening drive for a touchdown. And then the other side is Patrick Ramsey played pretty good and continues to play well in this offense right now.
So the Redskins leading 23-9 as we begin this second half. Chandler's kickoff taken at the 14 by Maurice Hicks. And Hicks brings it out across the 30. There is a flag. $18-yard return by Hicks.
Holding, 51. Receiving team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's against Salim Rashid. Moments ago, our Chris Myers spoke with 49ers head coach Dennis Erickson.
And with Coach Erickson coming out for the third quarter, how is your quarterback?
Well, he's got a broken left finger. He's going to try to play, but he broke it at the end of the half.
Given the score of your situation, might you see Cody Pickett if he doesn't?
We could. If he can't go, then you're going to see Cody. But right now, we're going to see how he is.
All right, good luck in the second half and in the new year.
All right, so Ken Dorsey remains in at quarterback despite that broken finger. We saw him heading off late in the first half with a couple of fingers taped together. And the handoff is to Hicks. His best run of the day, Maurice Hicks, finally forced out of bounds at the 39-yard line by Fred Smoot after a 25-yard pickup.
Well, that'll make a broken left finger feel pretty good. Just handing it off here. Watch him taking it here. It's on the tip of that finger. Maurice Hicks' best run of the day. He had a number of these a week ago against Arizona. He really shows a good burst and good vision.
Hicks gained 42 of his 139 yards last week in the overtime period. At the longest gain of the day by the 49ers offense. And now Hicks up the middle, but he is met by Antonio Pierce after a short game.
Well, you know, you see the 128 yards of passing from the Redskins. I think that's surprising that they're throwing the ball down the field here today. Clint Portis really kind of struggling. Take nothing away from the play, I think, of the 49ers on defense. But then the turnovers, I mean, 13 of the points off the turnovers right now.
Including an interception return for a touchdown by Antonio Pierce. One of 3 interceptions in the first half of Dorsey by the Redskins. Brandon Lloyd tackled at the 45 by Walt Harris after a gain of 5. Our fantasy update from the first half. Ramsey 11 of 18, 128 yards and a touchdown. 39 yards on the ground for Clinton Portis. And a big first half for Rod Gardner, 4 receptions, 84 yards.
Yeah, you know, and we talked about it. You know, Patrick Ramsey threw the ball down the field a little bit, took a few more shots than they have this season so far. Trusting him a little bit more.
4 down and 4 as Dorsey's pass is incomplete. Brandon Lloyd,
that looked like a pretty good throw.
Receiver, and he was looking for a flag.
Nah, that looked like a good throw. I mean, this ball is right there. I mean, it's great coverage by Fred Smoot. He's right on top of him. He's squeezing him to the sideline. Lloyd jumped too soon.
Smoot grabbed his left arm there. His right arm.
He got a little bit. Got a little hand playing going on right there, but I wouldn't throw the flag on. I think it's good play. I thought it was a well-thrown ball by Dorsey.
So now Andy Lee back at his own 30. Antonio Brown in single safety for the Redskins. There's a flag. As Brown returns the punt 5 yards out to the 20, but there is a penalty marker. And Pete Morelli will sort things out.
Keith Lewis here, responsible for that block punt, got 2 points of the safety for the 49ers. That's how they got the 9, the opening drive for a touchdown in the safety off the block punt by Lewis.
Holding, 38, kicking team, 10-yard penalty, still 4th down.
That's Ronnie Hurd, the guilty 49er.
Big return, AB.
Right here's the hold. I don't know what that's a hold. All he's trying to do is get rid of Todd Franza right there. Trying to just get rid of the man so he can go down and cover the punt, and that's what his argument is, and it's a good argument.
This officiating crew, we've seen them about 5 times. They've done a terrific job all season, led by Pete Morelli, who is a high school principal about 85 miles east of San Francisco, St. Mary's High School in Stockton, California. Former English teacher there.
You ever spend any time in the principal's office? Kid growing up? Any trouble?
Once.
What'd you do wrong?
I was the sports editor of the high school newspaper, and one of the teachers was upset about a tongue-in-cheek article that was written by one of my writers. More penalty flags. So I was there in the periphery. I was not the one called in.
You're not changing the story years later, are you?
No,
That's how it went down?
I was there to support one of my writers.
I thought maybe you just got a stat wrong, you know, in the school newspaper.
That may very well be true.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 22. Receiving team. First down.
That's Pat
Washington.
Dennis, called into the principal's office by Peter Morelli.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's to get a guy thrown.
This Fox NFL special is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of Super Bowl 39.
Welcome back. Redskins take over on their own 14-yard line following the punt and the penalty. And the handoff to Liddell Betts. Nowhere to go. Jamie Winborn on the tackle.
You talk about the penalty. Here's how it started. I mean, this is the special team war out here on the outside. Keith Lewis is getting ping-pong back and forth. Adi Jamo, Dennis. Lewis thinks this play is over right here. And then, watch this. Wham! I mean, that'll be that Christmas bonus will be a little lighter this week after a hit like that. That's what it's like trying to cover punt in this league.
What precipitated?
I don't know. That's awfully late.
Liddell Betts again. John Engelberger, Blacksburg, Virginia native, brought him down.
You know, for only the second time this year, Ken, you know, the Redskins have scored more than 20 points. And, you know, if they had scored just 21 points a game this year, they would be the second best team in the NFC. They'd be 10-2-1. And you just wonder, you know, if Joe Gibbs, you know, you see him talking to Mark Brunell there, if they had made this switch earlier. I mean, and we all saw Mark Brunell struggling, but Joe Gibbs, part of his strength in the past when he was the head coach in Washington was his loyalty to Theismann, to Mark Rippon, to Jay Schrader, to guys that were there.
Ramsey on 3rd and 9, and the catch is made for a first down. Nice catch by Liddell Betts.
I mean, this doesn't look like the last-ranked offense in football. This doesn't look like the lowest-scoring offense. And everybody, I mean, Jimmy Johnson said it in the pregame show today, that, you know, they've got too much talent to be last in offense. We see bad offenses in this league. That's the backup tailback, Liddell Betts, with a great catch on the outside. And Ramsey looks like he's really kind of finding a rhythm here. Not just today, but gradually growing here over the last month.
From the 25, this is Betts. And it was interesting in speaking with Joe Gibbs last night. And remember, they did give up a 3rd-round draft pick for Mark Brunell, gave him an $8.5 million signing bonus. But Gibbs told us last night the Brunell story in Washington is not over yet.
Ooh. I don't think many people want to hear about that. I mean, I don't know how right now you could even compare the two. Between Mark was given a fair shot for a long stretch here, and you can't even compare the way Pat Ramsey is playing right now to what Mark Brunell did.
First down and more for Clinton Portis into 49ers territory, finally tackled by Ronnie Hurd after a gain of 18.
Running right behind the left guard, Derek Dockery, who just cleared this hole wide open here. I mean, watch Dockery right here. Watch this thing get cleared out. Boom. Nice trap block that time by Chris Cooley on the outside defensive end. And when you run the ball the way the Redskins want to run it, they force the defense into playing a physical style of football. They force you to keep your middle linebacker on the field. They force you to be physical, and they can wear teams down.
Off the play fake, this is Cooley. And Cooley, who led all of college football in receptions by a tight end last year, picks up 13 and a Redskins first down.
Well, you talk about, they moved up in the 3rd round to draft Chris Cooley out of Utah State. And the thing that got Gibbs' attention about him was the fact that he was a wrestler. And not just a good wrestler. He was a state wrestling champ. He was 40-0 his senior year, 34 pins. In fact, the closest match he had was when he beat up an opponent 15-3. So he dominated, the mat. And there's just something about wrestling. There's just something about those guys. There's a toughness. So Gibbs said that his own son, Coy, was a wrestler.
Hey,
he used to get sick before matches, nervous stomach, Gibbs said if you can weather the wrestling season, you know that guy's tough.
Gibbs told us, I have great respect for wrestlers.
Holding.
Not many wrestlers
66.
are cowards.
Offense. 10-yard penalty. First down.
You ever see a wrestler's ear? They get that cauliflower ear, you look through the hole there. And wrestlers get the worst looking ears. They get the cauliflower growing in there and they get mangled and stuff. And that Cooley was a confident guy. He said he used to keep opponents around in the mat just to embarrass them, because he said his team was so bad, they'd wait till the last match was his heavyweight match, and he'd have to create all the entertainment and excitement for the whole day. So he'd knock a guy down, take him to the ground, let him back up, bring him back down, and he'd make him just twist in the wind out there on the mat.
Now 1st and 20 following the penalty. Porter spinning to the 42-yard line. And how does Chris Cooley spend his off days during the season, his Tuesday afternoons?
He's a pain. He goes down in the basement, he turns the radio on, and he gets, you go from one mat to the other mat. You go from the wrestling mat to the art mat.
Canvas.
The canvas, yeah. And one canvas to another, and he gets a brush, and it's oil and watercolor, and he paints. And you know what he paints? He paints weeds. He's got a framed picture in his house of weeds. Not apples or portraits or houses or scenics or anything. He paints weeds.
How much would you pay for a Cooley?
I don't know if I want any weeds. I don't have a lot of use for them on my wall.
Well, I've seen your walls.
There's a good throw.
Rod Gardner at the 35-yard line. Gain of 10. Now, we spoke about Brunell, and Ramsey's had success today. And I know some coaches you've spoken to around the league feel the Redskins' best quarterback may be the 3rd-string QB, Tim Hasselbeck.
Well, Hasselbeck got a chance to play last year when there was injuries, and his brother, of course, is the quarterback in Seattle. Had some success. He's a smart guy, a lot like Dorsey, gets the ball out of his hands. But Patrick Ramsey has a big-time arm that Hasselbeck doesn't have. And the way he's throwing the ball right now, you just go, what if? What if they had made this move from the very beginning? Let him go into the position. Look at this throw.
On 3rd and 7, wide open is Lavernius Coles, and he picks up the first down, a gain of 13 down to the 49ers 21.
This is what you want to, everybody here in San Francisco in this stadium has watched great quarterbacks, and it looks like this. You drop back, you hit your step, you hit your hitch step there, and boom, you throw it. You put a nice tight spiral on it, nothing to it, right? This was a struggle for the Redskins the first 10 weeks of the season just to do this. Now he's getting the ball to his wideouts down the field. Rod Gardner's having a big day. Lavernius is getting involved. Cooley's getting involved. That's what an offense is supposed to look like.
Here's Portis. And Ramsey perfect in this 3rd quarter. 4 for 4, 46 yards. He's only won once on the road in 10 starts. He's 6-4 at home, 1-9. His only road win, week 2 last year in Atlanta.
Well, he may add to that win total here today the way he's playing.
Redskins will finish up in Dallas next Sunday, and then at home 2 weeks tomorrow against Minnesota. 2nd down and 11 off the play fake. Ramsey to a wide open Rod Gardner inside the 10, inside the 5, finally brought down at the 4. 18 yards from Ramsey to Gardner as Gardner goes over the 100-yard mark for the 2nd time this season, 6th time in his career.
That's just a bootleg here. This is what they were doing with Brunell most of most of the first half of the season, just bootlegging, getting him out in the open prairies here. He's got Cooley open. You see him there, and he goes for the deeper throw. Because that's how Pat Ramsey got drafted. I mean, when he was at Tulane, you know, they were a passing team. They threw the ball all over the Superdome down there in New Orleans. And he'd throw the ball down the field. Heck, there was 5 wide receivers every play.
On first and goal, Portis puts the cutter back the other way, and he is wrapped up and taken down for a loss by Jeff Ulbrich.
This is sort of the mantra for the Redskins: get close to the goal line this year, and then, you know, all of a sudden do something to stink it up. But, you know, it's interesting. Joe Gibbs was telling us that even before he considered coming back and coaching, he was looking at tapes of Patrick Ramsey. I mean, he was still watching him. I mean, you know, like his mind must have still been on this job even before he was offered the job, because he came away saying Pat Ramsey got the stuffing knocked out of him last year, which he did. And he thought, you know, maybe I got to rebuild this guy. Maybe he's going to be a little gun shy after the pounding he took a year ago.
Portis lost 10 on that previous play, looking to get some of it back as he takes it down to the 8. So for Ramsey, this is 21st start in the NFL. Started 5 games as a rookie, 11 last year. This is 5th start this season, 1-9 away from home.
Well, you think about where he's been. You know, he went to Philadelphia, he went to Pittsburgh this year. Last year he played under a Spurrier system that really didn't protect well. And so you get on a hostile environment on the road, it's hard to hear. You know, a lot of things can go wrong for a quarterback.
Now 3rd and goal. Ramsey looking end zone, and he throws it through the end zone, intended for Rock Gardner.
Well, they've gotten close just about every time they've had the ball today, and they just can't get the ball in the end zone there outside of that opening drive, and that's disappointing.
That drive over 9 minutes long, and Jeff Chandler in his Redskins debut, who hit 3 of 3 in the second quarter, will come out to attempt a 26-yard field goal. He has already hit from 49, 25, and 20 yards out. The holder is Tom Tupa. The kick by Chandler is good. So he is now 4 for 4 against his former club.
This Fox NFL special is brought to you by Verizon Wireless. We never stop working for you.
That's the famed Lombard Street here in San Francisco. One big zigzag all the way down.
How would you do driving up Lombard Street?
Not good, not good. And don't give me one of those stick shifts too, because that thing is going to be an accident waiting to happen.
Chandler's kickoff taken at the 4. Cedric Wilson. And Wilson out of bounds, just shy of the 20. All Redskins this afternoon. They lead the 49ers 26-9. Ken Dorsey remains in the game at quarterback for the 49ers, despite the broken finger he suffered earlier. Starting from the 18-yard line. Dorsey complete to the tight end, Eric Johnson, out at the 27, just shy of a first down. Well, New Year's Day on Fox, the 69th SBC Cotton Bowl featuring the Tennessee Volunteers and the Texas A&M Aggies.
Yeah, wake up New Year's Day, Fox, 10 a.m. in Dallas, Texas, 11 in the East. Check out a little Volunteers. Had a good season. I mean, a couple of their losses was to Auburn, who ended up the year shortchanged in the BCS, undefeated. Tommy Tuberville's done a good job down there in Opelika, Alabama.
And Brian Ken Dorsey, a bowl game veteran.
Oh, yeah.
Won the national championship, the Rose Bowl after the 2001 season, beat Nebraska, and then lost to Ohio State in double overtime in the Fiesta Bowl his senior season.
Jimmy Johnson said that if Ken Dorsey was out here playing with that Miami team, they'd have a chance to win today. You know, guys like Willis McGahee, you know, and Jarrett Payton and Kellen Winslow was on that team. Shockey was a tight end there. You know, Bryant McKinney, the left tackle now for the Minnesota Vikings, protected his backside down there in Hurricane Alley there.
Penalty markers on first down.
Prior to snap, false start, number 85, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's the wide receiver, Brandon Lloyd. Well, Ken Dorsey got off to a good start today. Completed 4 of his first 5 pass attempts for 61 yards and a touchdown to Brandon Lloyd. But since that touchdown pass, just 6 of 14 and 3 interceptions. Including one by Antonio Pierce, who took it back all the way for a Redskins touchdown. Dorsey's pass broken up. Beautiful defensive play by Fred Smoot on Brandon Lloyd.
You know, these cornerbacks of Washington, Fred Smoot there on that play, Sean Springs up until the concussion last week, Walt Harris. These guys have been out there on the island almost all year. I mean, you don't see any help from anybody. And these guys have played big, week in, week out. Everybody's tried to test them, and that's usually the results right there. You know, Fred Smoot is one of those guys that the Redskins are looking to lock up, you know, looking to sign him as one of those core guys. So they're going to try to free up the money to do that. Walt Harris getting a start here today with the concussion of Sean Springs. He's played well.
Now Dorsey on 2nd and 15. Put a little too much on it. He was looking for Lloyd as we check out Dorsey's numbers and we check in with Chris Myers.
Hey, Kenny, you were talking a moment ago, you know, Clinton Portis played at the University of Miami with Dorsey. I asked him before the game, I asked Portis what kind of pro quarterback he thought Dorsey could be, and he said more like a Trent Dilfer type. He needs something and a lot around him. Dorsey, meanwhile, playing with that broken ring finger on his left hand. It's wrapped. It's still bleeding. There was some discussion on the sideline that Cody Pickett would come in. Pickett has yet to play in a game in his NFL career. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Chris. 3rd down and 15. Dorsey out of the shotgun with time. Finds Johnson, but well short of a first down. Marcus Washington made the tackle for a Redskins defense that continues to play with a lot of energy and passion.
Well, you know, and big smiles from Greg Williams. I mean, you can't tell that man, this team's not going to the playoffs. And for the 49er fans that are booing here on that call, that is exactly the life that Greg Williams wants. He wants teams in 3rd and 14 and come try and, you know, throw the ball down the field against us, because it is like a stealth system. It is hard to get the ball down the field through this defense.
And a big question surrounding the Redskins. Will Greg Williams be back next season?
I think he will. You know, he's still close to what happened in Buffalo, which wasn't a great deal of success. He wants to stay here and see this thing get rebuilt, and his name's going to surface. I think he wants to spend another year here in Washington building this thing for #1 defense in a playoff team.
'49ers with 168 yards of offense today. So if the Redskins hold them to 49 yards or less throughout the remainder of this game, Redskins would overtake the Steelers into the top spot defensively in the NFL. Redskins offense starting from their own 33-yard line, leading 26-9. Portis running right out across the 35-yard line. Salim Rashid in for the injured Jamie Winborn, who suffered a shoulder injury earlier, made the tackle.
Yeah, you know, the 49er defense has played tough all day. I mean, Portis is averaging less than 3 yards a carry right now. He hasn't broken anything today. And really the strength right there. You see Derek Smith, number 50. He was a former Redskin. He's the leader of that defense. And he knew today that the Redskins are going to try and run the ball. This is his kind of day. He's the middle linebacker. He's the play caller in the middle. He leads his team in tackles. Yeah, the distractions were there, but, you know, he's a pro. This is what he does, and he likes Sundays.
Play action on 2nd and 7. Is deflected, intended for Coles, and then nearly picked off by Dwayne Carpenter.
Yeah, a couple of former teammates right there. Ray Brown on the left, Derek Smith on the right. These guys were here for quite a few years together. Derek Smith came from Washington in free agency out here. Teammates for a few years. That Derek Smith, you know what he does for his free time? He likes to bear hunt. Cut himself a black bear, hanging out 6 hours north of Alberta, Canada last year. The first bullet didn't go through, didn't stop the bear, and the bear came looking at him. Kind of a scary moment for Derek Smith.
Bear's about 10 feet away. 3rd down and 7. Complete to Portis. They stumbled out of bounds. 4 yards shy of a first down. So now Tom Tupa, who had only the 2nd punt of his 16-year career blocked earlier today, led to a safety. Only twice in 16 years has Tupa had a punt blocked.
Tupa, he's a quarterback too. He went to Ohio State. He's thrown the football in this. He's been a 3rd quarterback when he was with the Jets. He's the holder. He's one of those kind of superstar athletes.
He started 13 games for the Cardinals back when Joe Bugle was the head coach. Back in the late 80s, early 90s. 61-yard punt, but a net of only 41. Well, California has not been a lovely place for Joe Gibbs through the years, but here today, in the final minute of this 3rd quarter, a 17-point Redskins lead.
Well, it's rough for 49er fans. I mean, this town was spoiled for a long run here. It's tough times. Tough times for the Bay Area. I mean, just 2 years ago, the Raiders were in the Super Bowl, and heck, right down here in the field, the 49ers had that vicious comeback against the New York Giants, and you think in 2 years, I mean, that's the state of the NFL right now. 2 years, things can turn around that drastically.
49ers could wind up with the #1 pick in the draft, something that has not happened since 1964. The last time they had a pick in the top 3, they selected Steve Spurrier.
Yeah, 1967.
Yep. They had the 3rd overall pick that year. Complete to Johnson out of the 24, and that will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter here in San Francisco. Redskins leading the 49ers 26-9. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after these messages from your local Fox station.
You're watching the NFL on Fox.
Not every weekend that you see a team outscored 16-2 in the 2nd quarter.
It's not every day that you see Christmas trees on the bow of a ship. I mean, I'm like Clark Griswold putting up Christmas decorations. They almost fell off the roof this week. It's not easy.
Be careful, Brian.
Yeah, exactly.
Dorsey out of the shotgun, throwing off his back foot, and he overthrows Brandon Lloyd. Another high throw from Dorsey.
Well, when he misses, that's what he does. We talked about that motion earlier, and it's something he's going to have to work on just to get the ball down. It tends to sail on him. As you see, he'll admit that he's one of those guys that he's limited physically, and everything's got to be just right. The footwork, the pre-snap read, the motion, it's all got to be there every play. There's not a lot of margin for error in the way that he wants to play the game.
Andy Lee punting from his own 15. Antonio Brown lets it bounce, and it rolls out of bounds at the 38-yard line.
Will tears fall in your ears and bounce stop? Can you throw it like a quarterback 3rd and a last right? You drop hits. Tell me how nasty can you get? All the way from the hood to your neck of the woods is ripped. One thing for sure.
Well, the 12-1 Philadelphia Eagles will be on Fox tomorrow as they go up against the Dallas Cowboys.
Best season in the history of Philadelphia. And that franchise won their first 7, went to Pittsburgh, got beat without Brian Westbrook, won their last 5, and looking to finish things out.
Here's Clinton Portis up the middle, gain of 5. Terrell Owens with 14 touchdown receptions, his career high 16 right here with the 49ers 3 years ago, and if he catches one more, head coach Andy Reid has to wear tights.
You see Terrell Owens on David Letterman last night?
I missed it.
No, I mean, he was pretty good. I know that he had problems here, and at the end it was time to go, and it's a shame because the 49ers are looking for big play players here. He was certainly one of them. and he's never had more fun than what he's having back in Philadelphia right now.
Here's Portis on 2nd and 5. And he's tackled by Derek Smith after a gain of just 1.
He talked a lot to David last night about the celebrations, the touchdown celebrations. They showed, you know, the Sharpie incident, the pom-poms, the dunking the ball over the goalpost. And I think around the league, people have said that, look, if you don't want him to celebrate, keep him out of the end zone. And that's been hard to do this year.
And that's what Fred Smoot told us before the first Redskins-Eagles game last month. Redskins defense did a terrific job against Terrell Owens in the 2 games. We're down at 4. Play action. Ramsey got away from Engelberger, but then he's taken down by Tony Parrish. For Parrish's first sack this season.
Yeah, the defense still playing hard, still applying pressure. This linebacking core, you know, can really get after it. See right here, they come with the blitz. Nobody blocks Engelberger. They don't do that on a bootleg. Tony Parrish came right behind him. Parrish came in today with 4 interceptions in the last 4 games.
Parrish, along with Tony Brown, share the sack officially. Cedric Wilson backpedaling, takes it from the 9. There is a flat. Franz Ryan Clark on the tackle. Terrell Owens, 2 games against the Redskins, Brian, only 8 receptions, 1 touchdown.
I thought Greg Williams had an interesting comment. He said, you know, he had to defend Philadelphia twice this year. He said, the illegal man downfield, he said that the toughest guy to defend on that team is Brian Westbrook. And I think a lot of people are finding that out. You know, he wasn't in the lineup the day that they lost to Pittsburgh. He wasn't in the lineup the day they lost to Carolina in the NFC Championship
Number
game.
46, an eligible man downfield, kicking team. Penalty is declined. First down, San Francisco.
So the 49ers back on offense early in this 4th quarter.
This Fox NFL special is brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By new M3 Power from Gillette. Feel the power of the world's best shave. By MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time.
We welcome you back. Kenny Albert, Brian Baldinger, Chris Myers coming to you from San Francisco. All Redskins today. They lead the 49ers 26-9. Penalty markers on first down. Dorsey complete. Eric Johnson out to the 37, and Johnson has now set a new team record for most receiving yards in one season by a tight end, breaking the record set by Brent Jones.
Offside, 56, defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
The 49ers decline the penalty. Now a 1st and 10 from their own 37.
Kind of an amazing year by tight ends in the whole league. I mean, 6 teams right now, leading receiver is a tight end in this league. Antonio Gates down in San Diego. Yearly tight end, I think, is the way you describe this season.
Looking for Johnson again. The last tight end to lead the entire league in receptions was Todd Christensen with the Raiders back in 1986. Caught 95 passes. Ben Coates of the Patriots holds the record with 96 receptions for the Patriots in 1994.
You know, Todd Christensen, he was actually drafted by the Dallas Cowboys. He was drafted as a fullback at a BYU and got moved to tight end. And you see a guy like Eric Johnson there. He was a wide receiver at Yale, got moved to tight end. You see that a lot. You know, Chris Cooley was a guy that could play fullback, tight end, a flexibility at those positions.
More flags. Were you in Dallas when Christensen was drafted?
No, it just came right after they released him. They actually cut Christensen, went to the Raiders, and had a long career.
Offside, 57, defense. 5-yard penalty still. Second down.
You know, tomorrow, you know, Philadelphia is playing Dallas, and, you know, Jason Witten there in Dallas leads the Cowboys in receptions. Jeremy Shockey leads the Giants in receptions up in New York this year. A lot of good ones. Al-J. Crumpler play tomorrow against the Carolina Panthers. Carolina fighting for a playoff spot.
Dorsey bobbled the snap.
waiting for that to happen with the broken left ring finger. Just not being able to hold on to the football. At some point, that thing just starts hurting and throbbing so bad, you kind of want to just lessen it. You kind of probably taking that thing from the palm of the hand rather than in the fingers. Kind of cradling that thing and protecting the finger at the same time. One of those injuries that it seems like Brett Favre has just about every year, and he just keeps playing with it, and Dorsey showing the same toughness.
Incomplete behind Cedric Wilson.
I tell you, this Redskin defense, since that opening drive has done nothing but get after this 49er team. I mean, they know that they want to be the #1 ranked defense, and they're probably going to be close at the end of today. But regardless, this team has showed up, traveled well, gone on the road this year, shut down the Eagles, gone to Pittsburgh, been respectable. Contained the Green Bay Packers this year when Green Bay was rolling, when they had about a 5-game winning streak there.
Andy Lee punting from his own 30. Antonio Brown on the return. When you look at the last 2 losses suffered by the Redskins by a combined 12 points to the Eagles and the Steelers. Well, look at what the Redskins defense has done since that 49ers touchdown drive.
The crowd group is having some fun. The coaches are having fun. They know that they've played well, that they've got some things in place here. Regardless of what happens to the Redskins the rest of the year, you got to say, you know what? They've got some optimism going into next season. A lot of places would like to have a defense in place like that.
Portis picks up the first down as he gains 13, running right over our yellow first down line. And we here at Fox very proud of our innovations since we started broadcasting the NFL back in 1994. We brought you the Fox Box.
Oh, yeah.
The glowing hockey puck, catcher cam in baseball, and of course our yellow first down line. There it is at the 44-yard line. And in just a moment, we'll show you exactly how we bring you that yellow first down line as Portis takes it up to the 38. Well, get a couple of buckets of paint. There's the field here in San Francisco. Our guys with the rollers paint the yellow line on. And then what happens if a team picks up a first down and we have to move the yellow line? They just get some green paint and go right over it.
That looks like hard labor right there. And, I think you need more paint. I mean, 2 buckets isn't going to be able to do that for a whole game.
Unbelievable how technologically advanced we are.
Yeah, you think it's all computer graphics and all this kind of stuff. No, it's manual labor here. We paint those lines there, too. We're out there, at midnight setting things up. They get worn down, and, you get the green paint out, you take it off, you put it back on. It's not easy bringing these broadcasts here.
Well, when you were out there in the Bay yesterday, I was down there painting.
You were painting?
I was painting. Had my overalls on.
Got to have overalls if you're painting, because you're just going to get it all over. You can't avoid it.
Yellow line now at the 44. Ramsey's pass crosses the yellow line. Lavernius Coles in 49ers territory down to the 41-yard line.
I think Shante Spencer tripped over a yellow line out there, and I think that's how the completion happened. The rookie corner over there, I think there's a paint blotch here. Watch him fall on this fake by Coles. So, yeah, I think he hit a yellow line or a green line or something. I'm looking at this field down here. For years, heck, you come here in December, January, you'd have the worst looking field in the league. And today, this thing looks like a nice fairway out there at Half Moon Bay or something.
From the 41, Portis. Portis coughed it up. Ball is loose.
The 49ers knocked that out. The ball was bouncing around. Yeah, 49ers got the ball, and You know, the fans and the coaching staff and Dennis Erickson, that's what they want to see. A team that's still scrapping and fighting and trying to get the ball out and get the ball back to the offense. You can't ask for more effort than that.
And it was not a patch of mud that caused the fumble, as Joe Gibbs reminisced about his last game.
Or a yellow line didn't do that.
Today's Game on Fox is brought to you by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Well, we were busy painting yesterday. And now the 49ers starting from their own 34. Pass caught by Eric Johnson. And he is close to a first down. So Ken Dorsey hanging in there despite the broken finger.
Yeah, you know, and finding Eric Johnson here, getting away from pressure. Like, when you're a tight end catching the ball in the middle of the field, you have to expect contact right away in this league.
From the 44, Kevin Barlow across midfield into Redskins territory. To the Redskins 43-yard line, another San Francisco first down. Gain of 12.
I'm not even sure if Barlow was even going to be able to play today. He got hurt in practice on Wednesday. A good job of hanging right behind the rookie Justin Smiley right there. Pretty disappointing year for Kevin Barlow here.
And yes, the offensive line still blocking for him despite his comments just over a week ago. Dorsey to the outside, Cedric Wilson. The Steelers do not have to worry. They still have the #1 defense in the NFL as Wilson gains 18. So statistically, the Redskins remain #2.
Well, big cushion on the outside to Cedric Wilson. Good job of running off Walt Harrison, coming back to the football. Just a good route. Dorsey, who's thrown some interceptions today, has got a broken left ring finger. Just continues to kind of fight through this thing here.
From the Redskins 26, Barlow. Barlow gaining 2 yards down to the Washington 24.
Well, you know, the 49ers came into the season and they just jettisoned so many big-time players. I mean, the offensive line, Derek Deason, Ron Stone, Garrison Hurst, Terrell Owens, Jeff Garcia. You know, and so the one guy that they thought could be the bell cow was going to be Kevin Barlow. And he was looking for that opportunity to be the main guy without having to switch time with Garrison Hurst. He just simply hasn't been able to do that this year. Part of it has been a young offensive line that hasn't played great.
Nearly intercepted there by Ryan Clark as we say hello once again to Chris Myers.
Yeah, Kenny Bright, I talked with Kevin Barlow before the game. You know, he said he takes full responsibility for his drop-off in production from a 1,000-yard rusher to a backup. He attributed a lot to immaturity, lack of focus, and he says he's upset that he's not starting, but he said, this is my team. I don't want to be anywhere else, and I'll prove it if they leave me here. Now, Terry Donahue told me that after last year, 3 teams called trying to trade for Barlow, but both he and Erickson said, no, this is a guy we want to carry the ball for us in the future. It's something they'll address after the end of this season.
Well, the other thing they have to address, whether it's Terry Donahue or whoever's here, is they owe him a lot of money March 15th, and they've got to make a decision whether to up that ante and pay him and keep him, or to let him go to one of those teams that were interested.
Terrific tackle there by Fred Smoot as Cedric Wilson was stopped a yard shy of the first down marker, and Dennis Erickson will go for it. Nothing to lose here, trailing by 17 with just over 6 minutes remaining on 4th and 1 with many Redskin fans in attendance.
Those fans were yelling defense to start this series. They knew that the Redskins had a chance to finish today #1 ranked. Not going to happen after the yards that San Francisco gained this drive.
4th down and 1. Barlow. And he picks up the first down. Now, we talked about the possibility of the 49ers having the #1 pick in the draft. They would have had the top pick in '79, but they traded it away to Buffalo for O.J. Simpson.
Yeah.
Bill Walsh's first draft. They do not have the top pick. However, in the 3rd round, They select a guy named Joe Montana. And in the 10th round, Dwight Clark.
Yeah. It's a nice, and then, you know, that's what you have to do, though. In this league, you're going to turn things around. You have to draft well. You've got to draft guys that can get on the field and become those kind of players. I mean, the good teams continue to find players in the draft. You see there today that Pittsburgh still will be ranked #1. Dwight Clark, of course. That the catch in the back end zone there against the Cowboys in the conference championship game in 1982.
Eric Johnson. And it's 7 down to the Redskins' 9-yard line. 8 catches today for Johnson. And he now has 77 on the season. Second down and 3 from the Redskins' 7. Under 5 minutes remaining, 4th quarter here in San Francisco. Barlow. And he's tackled back at the 11 by Sean Taylor.
Well, that's some tackle by Taylor. That's Sean Taylor. He shows up every week, and you know, with plays that not many guys in this league can make. And here he is right here in the middle. Watch him. He's just free to roam now. Free to use his ability to run, and then you're not going to get away from him in the open field. He's just going to smother you, like tackling a bear. Watch the violent yardage here, the stiff arm by Kevin Barlow. Right to Sean Taylor. Remember, he had split his lip earlier, went and had stitches. Well, that thing got opened back up. Another round, another cut.
He's not wearing red socks this week, but he's got a red chin strap. Dorsey for the end zone, incomplete. Conway was out of bounds.
Well, that's tight. That was some anticipation on that throw by Dorsey. He let that thing go way before the break. Ooh, that looked like he might have dragged that foot down. Watch this. Wow, that's a catch.
Looks like a touchdown.
You call that dot in the eye. You get 1 foot in, and then the back foot drags. They call that dot in the eye right there. See that right foot?
Dennis Erickson has thrown the red flag. Remember, he won a challenge earlier.
Coaches had to look at it up on the video screen. And this one is challenging the ruling on the field.
This one very well may be overturned. So Pete Morelli will take a look at it.
Well, they just put it up there on the screen. Dorsey, he looked at it. He thinks it's good. The well-thrown ball. Watch this. Left foot down, right foot dragging, possession. Let's see, that looks pretty good to me. Nice veteran play by Conway. It's amazing receivers in the National Football League, how they know where they're at in the field without ever looking.
So it will either be a 49ers touchdown or a 4th down and 7 from the 11. So Curtis Conway awaiting word on whether or not he has scored his 3rd touchdown of the season.
After reviewing the play, the receiver caught the pass, was able to get both feet in bounds. It's a touchdown. San Francisco will not be charged with a timeout, and they are granted an additional replay.
Well, Dennis Erickson has won 2 challenges today, and if he'd like to challenge another call over the next 2 minutes, 26 seconds, he would have a 3rd challenge. New rule this year.
Yep. You win your first 2, you get the 3rd one. That feels good. I mean, it's a good drive by Dorsey there against a defense that's trying to leave today ranked #1.
So Dorsey with his 2nd touchdown pass of the game, and now Todd Peterson for the extra point. 49ers within 10. Ben Roethlisberger now 12-0 as the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers following today's 33-30 victory over the New York Giants.
Just a phenomenal run by the black and gold. I mean, you know, he's out there going against Eli Manning, and Manning got all the attention, and there's Roethlisberger, 12-0. Remember, he came in there against the Ravens, and next week they went on this tear now and haven't looked back, and that's been with injuries to linebacker Kendall Bell, nose tackle Casey Hampton, to lineman to Deuce Staley. And Roethlisberger's been the one consistency that they've had there in that lineup. Arrington, of course, from Pittsburgh.
Big Steelers fan.
Big Steelers fan, yeah, from North Hills there.
Steelers, one of 3 teams with only 1 loss, 12-1 coming into play today. They're now 13-1. Patriots and Eagles also 12-1. First time in NFL history that 3 teams started 12-1. And here are the teams they lost to. In fact, the Patriots and the Eagles, their only losses were against the Pittsburgh Steelers, while the Steelers' only loss was against the Ravens.
And those losses to New England and Philadelphia, those wins by Pittsburgh, first time ever that they lost, that they beat undefeated teams back-to-back that late into the season. I think that makes sense. But Greg Williams played against both Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. He thought Philadelphia was the better team. Nobody in Philadelphia would agree with that, I think. Nobody in Pittsburgh would agree with that, the way Pittsburgh annihilated them, jumping out to a 21-3 lead in that first quarter.
Now, Brian, there was an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against the Redskins on the point after, so Peterson will set up to kick off from the 45 instead of the 30. And you have 8 49ers to his right.
Now, that's the onside kick time. Looking for a good bounce.
Right to a Redskin. Sean Taylor. And looks like there's another flag on the play. Sean Taylor has been right in the middle of the action all day long.
That lip is right there, right in the middle of it, for another shot to take. He doesn't mind all the pats to the back. He just doesn't want another hit to the lip. You know, he's got that classic fat lip. That thing will be a while for that thing to close.
Washington recovered the kick after the kick. Unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting. 26, receiving team, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Clinton Portis flagged for taunting. You mentioned the Red Sox. Taylor and Portis, both out of the University of Miami, fined the last 2 weeks for wearing Red Sox instead of white, but they have gone back to the white here today.
Right here, pull him tight.
I guess they didn't want any more fines.
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Most expensive pair of socks in the history of socks. Cost them each $15,000 the last 2 weeks. You ever pay $15,000 for a pair of socks?
No, I don't even pay for socks. I don't wear them.
Why not?
I mean, in California here, you go barefoot. Just with tennis shoes on.
Portis gaining 3 out to the 32. We talked about those 3 teams with only 1 loss, the Steelers, the Patriots, and the Eagles. We check out their remaining schedules.
Well, the Steelers have the Ravens next week. Of course, the Ravens play tonight in Indianapolis. Ravens fighting for a playoff spot. Patriots play Monday night at Miami. Got the Jets there. 49ers to finish out the season. Eagles play the Cowboys tomorrow in Philadelphia. 1 o'clock on Fox. Got to go to St. Louis.
On a Monday night.
On a Monday night. Finish up against the improved Cincinnati team. A lot of good football still to be played. The last thing you want to do, I think, if you're 12-1, you got 1 loss right now, is you start resting players and kind of tapering down. I mean, you want to get this thing in the playoff season going full bore.
Second down and 7. 4:17 remaining in this fourth quarter. From the 32. Portis looks to cut it back inside and takes it out to the 36-yard line. Instead of 4. 49ers stop the clock again using their final timeout. So 3 teams with an opportunity to finish 15-1 since the NFL went to the 16-game schedule in 1978. Only 3 teams have finished with a record of 15-1. That should be the 98 Vikings on the bottom, and the 49ers the first to do it in 1984.
Remember that Viking team in 1998? Randall Cunningham was the quarterback. They set the league record for points. They lost that game to Atlanta. In that championship game, the Falcons went on and got beat by Denver. That 84 team from San Francisco won a Super Bowl.
And of course, the 85 Bears.
And the 85 Bears, two of the greatest teams of all time.
Third down and 3. 49ers defense looking to get the ball back for their offense, trailing by 10. And Portis is stopped about 2 yards shy of the marker. Brian Young, the only remaining 49er from their last Super Bowl team, made the tackle.
Guys are playing hard. I mean, you know, it's all the things that happened this week with coach looking at a college job and who's going to be coaching this team next year and all that, and that's what you want to see. I mean, that's what Dennis Erickson wants to see. That's what Willie Robinson just did there. The defensive coordinator, patting Bryant Young on the helmet, trying to get this ball back to the offense.
Tom Tupa back at his own 22-yard line. The 49ers out of timeouts. Redskins let the clock run down, and they call timeout with 3:23 remaining. Super Bowl 39 and the Daytona 500, and these two franchises know a thing or two about Super Bowls. They have won a combined 8 Super Bowl championships. Fair catch, Cedric Wilson back at the 14, but there is a flag.
Holding, 71, kicking team, 10-yard penalty still, 4th down.
That's on Ethan Albright, the long snapper, so Tupa will do it again, the 11th Redskins penalty.
No, that's one of the disappointments that Joe Gibbs has had with this team is they're on par to have over 1,000 yards in penalties this year. He's never coached a team ever in the NFL that had that many penalties.
12 last week against the Eagles.
It's just the center right here. Grabbing Aaron Walker right there. Had one punt block already. Rather hold him than get another one blocked.
Again, a fair catch by Wilson, this time at the 27. As we check in with Chris Myers. Chris?
While you're talking NASCAR, Joe Gibbs, of course, 2 championships in NASCAR and the 3 Super Bowl titles. And his son, J.D., runs Gibbs Auto Racing. They'll have a 3rd car next year, a FedEx car. Tony Stewart, one of his drivers. And he said that it's the same kind of business, whether it's NASCAR, football, or in business. There are 3 things that motivate people: fear, sugar, and money. And you have to know which thing motivates which guy at which time. And he did say that he's had the success in both, but he still wants to prove to himself, coming back to the NFL, that he can once again have success with the Redskins.
All right, thanks, Chris. Dorsey out of the shotgun. Nowhere to go. Down he goes. Cornelius Griffin, along with Ronaldo Wynn, take down Ken Dorsey. And we talked to Joe Gibbs about his years in the racing business, and he told us about the weight room.
Yeah.
Just as big as the weight room at Redskin Park. He said in NASCAR we film practices just like in the NFL.
He said it's just like
Conway
this time of the year, it's the holiday season. He said when he first went to NASCAR, they had a Christmas party. It was like 11 people in a huddle, you know, just having a toast and you know, lighting a Christmas tree. He said they had a Christmas party here last week. It was 525 people. You know, an awful lot of sponsors and people involved with putting that show on.
And he compared the drivers to quarterbacks.
Yeah, and the crew chief to a coach.
And Gibbs has had great success in both NASCAR and football. With that last pass, Dorsey sets a new career high, 206 yards in the air. This time incomplete, intended for Conway.
Yeah, it's 4th down here. They'll keep the offense out there on the field and take another shot at it. Took a lot of hits early in this game. Most of those interceptions were off of pressure. Didn't see even a couple of them as he was hit as he threw the ball.
Dorsey telling us on Thursday about his girlfriend Jordan. Her uncle was the vice presidential candidate John Edwards. And Jordan worked hard on the campaign trail. Both Ken and Jordan up late on election night watching the returns. And Dorsey is picked off for the 4th time today. This one by Walt Harris.
I mean, he's just trying to make something happen, just trying to get the ball down the field. Greg Williams will take it. He's kind of stretching his arms out, going, it's a good day's work by his defense. Great coverage by Walt Harris, who's filling in today for Sean Springs, who missed the game with a concussion. It's amazing really watching the Redskins all season long, the 14th game today, the effort that this defense plays with every single week. And the enthusiasm that they just play it the right way. There's a lot of teams going to the postseason. We've talked a lot about them today that would like to have this defense in the postseason.
2.5 remaining. Here's Portis. Great job by our entire crew today here in San Francisco. Our producer, Pete Macheska, director, Michael Frank, associate director, Barry Landis, broadcast associate, Darren Foster, our technical producer, Danny Rotante, studio produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy, the associate director, Stephanie Medina, the senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports, Ed Gorin and David Hill. Crunching the numbers for us, Eric Merlis, Ben Bowman here in the booth, Rick Camps and Robbie Inspikowski down in the truck as we hit the 2-minute warning here in San Francisco. Harris putting the exclamation point on today's Redskins victory.
This Fox NFL special is brought to you by SBC, going beyond the call.
Tonight on Fox, John Walsh chases the most dangerous criminals still on the streets. He'll help put them away. It's an all-new America's Most Wanted Top 10 Fugitives. That's tonight at 9, 8 Central, right here on Fox. Redskins with a season-high 4 interceptions. Antonio Pierce brought one back for a touchdown. Redskins scoring 13 of their 26 points off turnovers. 2nd down and 8 from the 45. Quinton Portis. Portis working his way down to the 40. Frustrating afternoon for Ken Dorsey. Suffered a broken finger and also picked off 4 times.
Well, so disappointing. I mean, you know, the kid grows up here in the Bay Area, out here at Christmas when he was a 10, 11-year-old kid watching the 49ers against the Oilers, watching Warren Moon and Joe Montana, and probably looking forward to this day his whole life, you know, and never imagined that it could turn out this way.
His first home start as a 49er. Quinton Portis with that last run, over 100 yards for the 5th time this season. And the Redskins will make it 5-0 when Portis reaches the century mark. Here's Portis again. As we approach 1 minute remaining, we would also like to thank the folks who travel with us around the country every week to bring you the sights and sounds of NFL football on Fox. Chris Castro, Paul Kelly. There's Mike Ratuz, John Warner, Wayne Bernfeld. There's Winning, Joe Flynn, Mark Loffer, Mike Norris, and Randy Carr. Thanks, guys. Happy holidays to you and your families as we probably spend more time with them than their families.
That's our #1 ranked defense right there.
Yep.
You know, we don't do anything without those guys.
Redskins will make it 5-9 as they head into their final 2 weeks in Dallas, home for Minnesota. 49ers will drop to 2-12. 49ers finished 2-14 twice in 78 and 79. They will host Buffalo next week and then travel to Foxborough. So the Redskins win it by the score of 26-16. Joe Gibbs' first ever victory in San Francisco after suffering 5 consecutive defeats. We'll return after these messages. The final score here in San Francisco, the Washington Redskins 26, the San Francisco 49ers 16. Our UPS leaderboard, Patrick Ramsey 214 yards in the air for the Redskins. Clinton Portis and Rod Gardner both over 100 yards for the day. Coming up tonight on Fox, Cops, followed by America's Most Wanted. Football tomorrow, beginning with the pregame show at noon Eastern. Many of you will see the Cowboys and the Eagles. Rams and the Cardinals late. Check local listings. So for Brian Baldinger, Chris Myers, and our entire crew, this is Kenny Albert. So long from San Francisco. Redskins over the 49ers by the score of 26-16.
Christmas week on NFL Primetime. The Eagles home for the holidays and looking to stay there. But T.O. takes a tumble. All of Philadelphia holds their collective breath. The frozen tundra holds the Packers' playoff fate. And why it's not too late even if you're 5-8 in the NFC. In the AFC, another story. San Diego charges into Cleveland with the division title buried somewhere in all that snow. The Bills find all sorts of ways to score in Cincy. The Jets look for a couple of early gifts to clinch a playoff spot, while the Broncos D played Santa in Kansas City. Let the football begin on NFL Primetime. NFL Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Primetime is Miller time. And now, here's your host, Chris Berman.
Hello once again, everybody, along with Tom Jackson. Welcome to Week 15 Sunday edition of NFL Primetime. I'm glad you could stop on your holiday cheer and join us. Happy holidays from everybody here to everybody out.
Happy holidays.
It would be a happy holiday season. And the NFC, I think, is happy holidays for everybody.
Yeah, this doesn't get clearer as we get. Maybe a little bit. I can hardly tell. You have to explain it to me.
It's pretty clear that it's funny. And you know what? Where it's really interesting is in the NFC Norris division, where we're going to start with Minnesota and Mike Tice and the Vikings on the road. Now, first of all, Dante Culpepper's played great, but they've been 2-5 after a big start. And now, in Detroit, though, Dante Culpepper, talk about a big start. 82 yards early second quarter. Randy Moss, 14-3. Minnesota on the road in December.
Yeah, watch Moss run the route. It's a cornerback, 2 linebackers, a safety, and a partridge in a pear tree, and he beats them all for 82 yards.
Was that a trapezoid?
Yes, I have to go back to school for that, but yeah, trapezoid's good.
Now, Joey Harrington questioned if he would start because he's playing with the flu, and what he turned in was one of his best games as a pro. Harrington, Roy Williams, boy, is this rookie impressed despite the injuries. 24 yards, he injures his hip, goes to the locker room, gets extra padding. Williams would return. Later on the drive, Harrington to the other high-pick skill player, and that's the running back Kevin Jones. And what a run for 16 yards, the Lions in the game, 14-10. Field goal makes it 14-13, fourth quarter, now 3rd and 5. Culpepper, Nate Burleson, and look at the play he makes. Now, Tom, they say the plane is infinity. His feet never go out.
His feet never went out, and I guess the plane goes right out of the end zone and right across the earth.
It goes right across to Canada, to Windsor, I guess. Anyway, Harrington to then he pitches it back to Sean Bryson. Tricky Lions, big play. Here's Detroit down 8 minutes to go with a 62-yard pickup. 3rd and 5 from the 9. Harrington Roy Williams, that's a pretty play, touchdown. And so now down 21-19, they go for 2. Harrington, big rush, Ty Streets, and there's a flag on Terrence Shaw. And so they get a second chance. They go for 2 from the 1 now. What a play by Harrington right here.
Yeah, Harrington under pressure, making that throw. Got a receiver making a catch for him. What a great play.
Now, Minnesota in a tie game. Michael Bennett, they're going to win on a field goal. No, it's a fumble. The Vikings do it, but they fall on the ball. And the next play, Mo Williams. Mo with a touchdown, 11 yards, and a big run for the Vikings lead.
Yeah, look at him barrel over the Lions. He wanted that score. He knew his team needed it. He went and got it for him.
So 28-21, a minute and a half to go. Detroit in business. 2nd and 10 now. They're at the 38-yard line. Bullet Akeem to the 15. They're doing this with no timeouts. Harrington under control. He spikes it. Then 2nd down to Roy Williams. And the flag. And boy, Minnesota felt that he wouldn't be able to catch it. It's touch and go, but Detroit gets the call.
Yeah, and we take a look at the contact right there on the sideline. The ref had the flag at the ready. He knew he might see it. He threw it right at the goal line.
So 1st and goal. Harrington to Roy Williams. Touchdown with 8 seconds to go. Mike Tice cannot believe that the Lions are on the verge of tying the game.
Yeah, they left Williams in single coverage. He's going to make that catch. He's too big and athletic.
28-20. Oh, no. Oh, no. You're kidding me. Hansen never gets the ticket because rookie Don Molback, to the chagrin of Steve Mariucci, the snap is in the dirt, if you want to call it dirt, and it can't be handled by Nick Harris, and they never even get a chance to tie the game. Here's some coaching right there. Here's Steve Mariucci to both fullback
I love that.
and Williams. And because this young Lion team has showed something, but in the end, the Minnesota Vikings, who after a 5-1 start have been sputtering, to say it kindly, but they go on the road in the division and win it 28-27. Culpepper, 404 yards with 3 touchdowns. So, look, the Vikings, a team in dire need of a break, got the ultimate break at the end of the game, and they turn it into
They got the break at the end of the game, but you have to win up to that point to win the game. And I think when you look at what this team has gone through, losing 5 out of 7 games, the proposed slide that they're going through at the end of the year, the problems that they've had with the absence of Randy Moss from time to time during the course of the season, I think the one constant has been Dante Culpepper, and minus a Peyton Manning, minus a Donovan McNabb, maybe a T.O., and maybe you group all those other guys in the same basket. This guy is an MVP candidate, the undisputed leader of his football team, and he has carried this football team, 3 touchdowns today, but there's been other weeks, 5, 4. He has done a magnificent job. Wasn't for Peyton Manning, I think that this guy would be the MVP.
And with pressure, because, they're not light. This is not the 85 Bears on defense,
That's right.
I mean,
That's right. Got their problems on the defensive side of the ball.
But big picture now, Minnesota on Christmas Eve hosts the Green Bay Packers, and that's going to turn out to be first place in the division. And the Vikes, they can control their own fate. After all of this, when we return, we control our own fate. The Willis McGahee and the streaking Bills. The Bills were the scare, although what they did to the Bengals was scary. Buffalo circling more than one wagon, and Terrell Owens, we'll update you on this. He had to leave the game, ankle injury, so stay tuned.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a great-tasting low-carb Miller Lite. And in part by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game.
And now we go outside, where the weather a factor today. Big time wind chill down in the low single digits for Buffalo at the Cincinnati Bengals. And very early, the tricky Bills, Bledsoe, McGahee, flea flicker, Lee Evans. It looks like a touchdown, but he ruled outside at the 5-yard line. And so Bledsoe says, okay, let me go to the rookie and let him get the touchdown after all. Game is tied at 7, late first quarter. Now, the Bills scored on offense. Now, Bills special teams. Boom! Jason Peters with the block, the recovery, and the touchdown.
It's a triple play. It's a triple play for any lineman.
The Bills special teams, maligned a few years ago, now may be the best in the game. John Kitna starting for the injured Carson Palmer, picked off by the Bengal for 7 years. Takeo Spikes could go all the way. So now we got offense. We got special teams and defense scoring.
Yeah, and watch how Spikes created this play. He's covering Rudy Johnson. He knocks Rudy down as the ball is coming, and he is off to the races. Former Bengal, this must feel pretty good for Takeo.
Absolutely. Last week, Corey Dillon. This week, Takeo Spikes. Now, late second quarter, scary moment for the Bills. You caught a glimpse of it a moment ago. Swing pass to Willis McGahee, and he just turns right there. Now, that is the repaired knee. Twisted left knee. He did come back later, but then was kept out of the rest of the game as a precaution. So hopefully, you know, anything with McGahee knee, you're figuring, uh-oh, but preliminary reports, not so bad. Meanwhile, the Bills were pretty darn good. 27-10 third quarter. Even when Cincinnati had Rudy Johnson going, Nate Clements strips it. Guess who's there?
Takeo Spikes.
Takeo Spikes and the Buffalo Bills, who scored 37 or more in their previous 4 games, all win. Now 33-17. The Bills were 0-4. They're now 8-6. And a rough game for Kitna. 2 picks, the fumble, the 3 sacks, and for Cincinnati, 14 straight years now this assures that they will be without a winning season.
Yeah.
Tying for the second longest streak ever. Only the Saints, the first 20 years of their existence, longer. Inside the numbers, Buffalo, this is what they've done in just the 5 games that they've won. 2 defensive touchdowns, 3 special team touchdowns, and as good as that K-gun offense, Jim Kelly and the guys, 187 points in a 5-game span. It's the most they have ever had. Should I say it? Can I say it?
Yes, do.
No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills in December right now. Wow.
And they're circling the wagons in a lot of different ways, and I think that's what those numbers tend to indicate. And you saw a great example of it today. This is a team on the move. They do a lot of things offensively, defensively, and in the special teams area that make them successful. Drew Bledsoe getting very comfortable now with the complement of a good running game. He gets the time to sit back, scan the field, and throw the football. That touchdown to Lee Evans. Here, Jason Peters coming on the punt rush. They take pride in rushing the punt. He actually only gets within 4 yards of the punter, is able to get a hand up in exactly the right spot for the triple play. He recovered that for a touchdown. And then Takeo Spikes, you saw it in the highlight package. Great job, great hands, great athleticism. And that's what I think this team really has. A group of outstanding athletes. They're starting to play for each other and play together. And I think when you have that, you're going to be successful ultimately. And I think this team, one of those teams that next year, we're going to be talking about this team and where they're going in the playoffs, not whether they're going to get there.
Now, they have a shot even though the AFC is completely different than the NFC. They're at San Francisco in the one-time Schwab Bowl, although San Francisco is not quite what they were. That's to make the understatement. And then Buffalo hosts Pittsburgh.
That's going to be a heck of a game.
It's going to be a very, very good game, and maybe with playoff implications for the Bills as well as for the Steelers. Meanwhile, game without playoff implications in Chicago. Texans at the Bears, and again, this is wind chill in the -4, -5. But here's Houston. You got to love the way they play. David Carr to Corey Bradford, 37-yard touchdown, 7-0 Houston at the half. The score 10-5, bottom of the 8. Houston's going to the bullpen, and Carr to Bradford this time for a first down. Then they do some hitting. That's Bagwell. No, I mean Dominic Davis, 11-yard touchdown, 17-5 Texans. And then Dr. Robinson, corner blitz, nails Chad Hutchinson. Charlie Anderson does the rest. Robinson also had a pick today. That makes 6 for their #1 draft pick.
Going to be some Pro Bowl consideration for him.
And Lovie Smith sees his team. Remember 2 games ago, Chad Hutchinson, hey, we got to... No, they don't. Because they now have gone 2 straight games without scoring an offensive touchdown. And meanwhile, the wind chills, as I said, got to -10. And even on the undercard.
That's right.
Even on the games, quote, no one cares about, AFC over NFC. And Houston over the Bears with a thumper.
Yeah, and another team that's growing in leaps and bounds. We know this is a very well-coached football team, and I'm watching David Carr and watch him mature into an awfully good quarterback in this league.
And so Carr maturing. Meanwhile, when we return, more maturing. Well, Brett Favre is plenty mature, and they're at home in the frigid temperatures against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the Jags AFC versus NFC, a recurring theme. Meanwhile, AFC versus NFC, Chad Pennington and the looking like playoff-bound Jets against the Seahawks, who could be playoff-bound.
Inside the Numbers, brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Get ready for the game. Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
Marquee, one of the marquee games today, two teams with winning records. That would be Seattle, leaders of the humorous NFC West, at the New York Jets, who, as well as they've been playing, still looking uphill at the New England Patriots. Here we go, somewhere in the swamps of Jersey. And for a showdown, it didn't turn out to be much of one. Herman Edwards and the Jets concerned maybe Chad Pennington hadn't thrown well. Meanwhile, no concern with Jerry Rice. Watch the one-handed grab like Saladay's, his 208th touchdown in his career. Hasselbeck hits him 7-3. The Seahawks, but Curtis, my favorite, Martin, touchdown. You got to love Jet fans. His and her helmets, beers, old. I mean, that's just great. Mr. and Mrs. Seth Markman. Meanwhile, Hasselbeck picked off by Eric Bart. The linebacker had a huge game for the Jets. And with the score 17-7, that sets up Chad Pennington. Hey, there's a throw to Santana Moss. 32 yards, 24-7, Jets, get. 7 seconds left in the half. No timeout, Seattle. This seemingly, Hasselbeck, Jeremy Stevens, seemingly got Seattle back in the game, 24-14. Now, tricky Jets. Chad Pennington is right there. As a receiver, it's like the single wing. It's Lamont Jordan takes the snap, and Jordan ran well today, along with Martin, 33 yards. Paul Hackett, all of a sudden,
very creative today in what he did for this offense.
Pennington to Moss, 7 yards. They missed the extra point. It's 30-14. Second and goal, Seattle from the 1. Hasselbeck almost in. Now, why is it always this goal? I remember the Vinny play 4, 5, 6 years ago. Sean Alexander, third down. Not in. Now, fourth and goal from the 1. These are the Seahawks. Touch. No, fumble. Sean Ellis on it for the Jets. Touchback. Sean Alexander fumbles at the 1 line as Seattle was trying to make a game of it. Now, Lamont Jordan, he fumbles. Ken Hamlin. Maybe not. There's still a game. And the Seahawks have pulled to within 9 as Hamlin goes all the way. The officials say he goes all the way, but Herm knows. Hey, you see that? They ruled forward progress.
Yeah, his forward progress had been stopped. Not necessarily that the ball wasn't coming out. Technically, whistle blown, play dead.
Mike Holmgren furious. We didn't show it to you earlier. Curtis Martin had a touchdown that was reviewed that looked shaky, but he got in anyway then. Speaking of shaky, Hasselbeck fumbles. Sean Ellis hit. Steve Hutchinson gets it, but no, out of his hands into Eric Barton. And so, we told you Barton had a huge game. Look, Robbie Tobeck knocks the ball out of Hutchinson's hand.
Yeah, sometimes things just aren't going your way, and you can tell when your own guy forces you to fumble after you've recovered a fumble for your own team.
And then Pennington, third TD pass of the game to Justin McCairns. The Jets win going away to the Seattle Seahawks, 37-14. Curtis Martin, 134 yards rushing. Jordan had 84, so he added up the Jets' 41 carries for 229. Oh, by the way, Martin sets a Jet record, 53 rushing touchdowns. One of my favorite players breaks the old mark set by Emerson Boozer. Now, in this game, Tommy, look, the Jets, this is a big game for the Jets, not only because they thumped the Seattle team, but after Pittsburgh and after Pennington, they concocted plays. They kind of played within what he could do, and they played it to the team.
I think that, you know, the offensive coordinator, Paul Hackett, knew that he didn't have a quarterback that was at 100%, so he created some plays where he could use the intermediate to short routes to get him some confidence. He did let him throw downfield, but he made sure guys were going to be open downfield. He got the 100-plus yard, 120-plus yards from Curtis Martin, the contribution from Lamont Jordan. So this is what the Jets do. They don't get penalized. They don't turn the ball over. You had no interceptions interception today from Chad Pennington, and this is how they win football games. And even though those teams that have beat them, I think they're awfully good teams that they've lost to, they have been very, very close, and they could get better between now and the playoffs and the start of the playoffs.
And this is one of those wins. I know the Jets beat San Diego earlier before San Diego was established. This is one of those wins for the Jets. And Herm called his team out this week. I know that. And really jumped on him and say, you know, big games, our veteran players, let's go. And boy, did they come up big. Meanwhile, Seattle, I mean, they just laid an egg. But as you're about to see, Seattle in the NFC West, still sitting pretty because, here we go, because the Rams are one game behind him. And now knowing that Mike Martz's club does, that the Seahawks have lost, they can tie Seattle for first if they win at lowly Arizona. But Chris Chandler, picking up where he left off last week, had 6 picks. David Macklin picks him off. Then Chandler sacked by Ronaldo Hill. And Chandler 1 for 6, 1 yard, 1 pick, sit down. Jamie Martin comes in the second quarter, and it's 17-0. No, it's broken up by Hill. Then it's 17-7. Josh Tears of McCown to the rookie Larry Fitzgerald. What a grab. Touchdown. 24-7 Cardinals. Then Martin, Torrey Holt, and this sums up the Rams. Fumble at the 1. You have the Alexander fumble. You have the Holt fumble. No, it's not a touchdown. It's a touchback. And in the end, Russell Davis, Tommy Polley, not having a cracker. Words on the sideline. Polley punches Davis in the face. Hey, the Cardinals.
Wear your helmet when you're doing that.
You know, the Arizona Cardinals win it 31-7. Arizona, let me just sum this up for you. Arizona at 5-9 can still win the division. They're at Seattle next week. They could win the division at 7-9. And if they did that, they would lost twice to the 49ers. The only 2 games are 9-1. You get in the picture here.
And inexplicable how the Rams could play like that, already having known that the Seahawks in your division have lost that game.
Well, the Rams, whoa. Going south, and the Rams play Philadelphia, and they play not in good shape. Meanwhile, winning the division, certainly snow would slow the club from Southern California, and Philadelphia trying for a home field advantage throughout, at home against Dallas, a team they had thumped earlier.
Chevrolet Fantasy Ticker is brought to you by the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American revolution.
Well, if you watch Countdown, we teed you off that the Titans and the Raiders might be the most humorous game of the day. And if you like scoring, it was great. Billy Bullock, Drew Bennett, you saw him on Monday night, touchdown, 7 all early, that's 18 yards. 14-7, but Bullock to Bennett. Man, what a catch. 18 he catches, Bennett 3 games, 14 all. Third quarter, he really got, no, that's actually late second quarter. Kerry Collins, Jerry Porter, 21-14. Dead late in the third quarter. Raiders lead 28-21. Collins, Porter, touchdown, 3 for him. Collins, 5 on the day, 35-21. Volek, Derek Mason, touchdown. Volek had 4 touchdown passes, 35-28. 17 seconds left, 38-35 Raiders. Volek goes in the end zone and intentionally, grounds the ball for a safety. So Volek finished with 492 yards, 40 of 60. With 4 touchdowns, 9-18 the last 2 games. They lost them both. As Kerry Collins has 5 touchdown passes, throwing for 371. You want scoring? You had it there. That's for sure. Meanwhile, let's settle it down now. Actually, a team that scored quite a lot. The Philadelphia Eagles, after their lone loss this year to the Pittsburgh Steelers, had won their last 5 games to the tune of 168-64. They started that outburst on Monday night against Dallas, you might remember. And now Philly at home in our prime cut with a chance to sew up home field advantage. And you figure they'd have their way with Dallas. But that's why they play the games. Andy Reid and his squad looking to secure the home field. Terrell Owens, well, I didn't catch one last week. If he catches a touchdown, it's 15, and he'd make the coach wear tights as a preseason deal. Meanwhile, Donovan McNabb to Brian Westbrook inside the 5. McNabb, play fake, and how about this? Chad Lewis out of the witness protection program. Touchdown. They missed the extra point. 30 TD passes McNabb this year. But here comes Dallas's defense. That's Greg Ellis, recovered by Eric Obagwu. Turnover McNabb. Ensuing drive, second and goal, Vinny Testaverde. Keyshawn, touchdown. 7-6 of the Cowboys have the lead. Third quarter, same score. McNabb to Terrell Owens. And Roy Williams is going to make the hit. And Owens is going to limp off the field. First, take a look at the hit.
Yeah, you take another look at it. You're just going to see that T.O. gets pulled down awkwardly and gets bent literally over that right leg, gets tucked up under him, and that's a horrible sight. That's a horrible sight.
And he was carried off, sprained right ankle. We'll update it for you at the end of the highlight here. It's better than it looked. Meanwhile, McNabb, now all of a sudden, these Eagles on offense, hey, already Dallas had taken him out of their game. That's Terrence Newman with a pick. They look kind of like they have at times the last couple years, right? At times bogged down. McNabb to Todd Pinkston. He doesn't get it.
Well, you just look at a couple of things here. We're gonna see Donovan McNabb. You see Pinkston here. Look inside instead of looking at the ball that's coming toward him. He's looking to see where Roy Williams is coming from. He's an intimidator, but you can't be intimidated. Then you watch passes like this, just guys not getting the separation, not getting open, not giving McNabb the space to throw the football. And look at the time he has here. Eventually, he's forced to throw this ball away and is called for intentional grounding.
And Bill Parcells helps with the call. So here we are late in the fourth. It's a 7-6 game, under 5 minutes to go. At the midfield stripe is Philadelphia. And this is what Donovan McNabb can do. When all else fails, just keep it. Nobody there, gone. And McNabb makes a nice move there at the 47, 12-yard pickup, first down.
You had the feeling that he trusted himself more than he trusted anybody else on the field.
Well, again, Tom, he's buying time. Whoa! And now he splits 3 Cowboys, and that's an 18-yard pickup, first down. 2-minute warning, and Dorsey Levens, the old Packer, touchdown. They go for 2, don't get it, 12-7. Dallas, what can they do? Vinny Testaverde, Lido, one more for the road. He balls, skags it. Lido Shepherd with the Silk Degrees interception, and the Eagles, not pretty, but the last time I checked, when you're 13-1, they don't necessarily award all style points. They clinch home field throughout the playoffs. However, the issue, Terrell Owens, playing without him for let's see how long. After the game, Donovan McNabb without his big wideout.
I think, for all of us, it's kind of a wake-up call, obviously. It's when a man goes down, someone else has to step up. And Freddie and also Greg Lewis came in, and we were able to just spread the ball around, just continue to do what we've been doing. One thing we have to understand, obviously, is we've been in 3 NFC championships, without T.O. So the guys just have to understand that, their number's going to be called, and when the number's called, we just have to be able to execute.
Well, sprained right ankle, Tom. X-rays negative, although an MRI tomorrow, Monday. According to Andy Reid, they said the good news is it's not broken. The bad news is it did swell, and it's certainly probably doubtful at best for the Monday night game against the St. Louis Rams in their final game against Cincinnati. We probably won't see him till the Eagles open up the playoffs on the 15th and the 16th in the division.
I think that's more good news for the Eagles. You've clinched home field advantage in the NFC. You now have literally 4 weeks before you're going to have to play a football game, a meaningful football game, and I think you only have to get T.O. a little bit of work. The downside is that we don't know exactly what the injury is and won't until we see the MRI or the results of tomorrow, and we can see clearly that they are a different football team when he's not in that lineup. They need him to play, and it was an awful sight to see T.O. go down like that. I hope that it's something that will allow him to heal and be able to play in the playoffs. He needs to be out there. I think all football fans want to see T.O. in the playoffs and see him help the Philadelphia Eagles make this run.
Well, and the beginning news is that he will be there. I mean,
McNabb threw those 2 interceptions after T.O. was out of the lineup. It's just an indicator.
You've seen that before.
Yeah.
But at 13-1,
Oh, 13. You don't have to apologize.
Philadelphia Eagles home to the playoffs. They've done that before. When we return, and I'll tell you what, the Kansas City Chiefs looking very much like a playoff team as of late, to the chagrin of the Denver Broncos, who went into KC. Meanwhile, San Diego, while Denver struggles in the snow, San Diego, could they wrap up the AFC West and complete a storybook season? Stay with us.
Welcome back to NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite.
And now we go to the AFC West, where Denver was in Kansas City. And in Arrowhead, they've seen this before. Dante Hall, opening kickoff, bounces to the hash mark, gets by a Bronco, and guess what? He could go all the way. 9 in his career, 97 yards, 7 of the Chiefs.
The same sideline as last year, only was a punt return.
Yep. And now Larry Johnson, Grandmama, his first start, 5-yard touchdown. I would say diapers off.
Yes.
14-0 Chiefs, Tom. And then Jake Plummer. We talked about him this morning on Countdown. More struggle.
You know, we talked about the picks. He started today with 17. Here he throws number 18 to Dexter McCleon. You see how much that ball was underthrown. And then trouble with the handoff, and, you know, Tatum Bell suffers the consequences. And then Jake Plummer trying to make something happen by using his legs, and he gets tracked by the Chiefs defense.
By the way, it was his 30th birthday. Not a happy birthday. 2 more picks gives him a league-leading 19. Meanwhile, blocking a Chiefs line as good as there isn't. You think they had a hole there for Larry Johnson? Where's the defense? 28-7. Trent Green hits Sammy Parker. Where's the pass coverage? 35-10. Green 16 of 19. 3 touchdown passes. And then here's a play that sums up the Broncos. Tatum Bell on the screen. Thinking touchdown for the rookie. But Greg Wesley makes a superb play and punches the ball out. So like the Seattle play, like the St. Louis play, this play sums up Denver. 3 playoff teams nowhere near what they were a year ago. Tom, 45-17. Kansas City spanks Denver. Kansas City's been rolling. Denver's lost 3 of 4 in December since they started going there in 1963. In December, Denver, Kansas City, 1-14.
Denver Broncos did not play well, and you give the Chiefs credit for staying and hanging in. We talk about having the integrity to play at this time of year. The Chiefs showed that today.
And they had 6 sacks. There were 10 penalties against Denver. Meanwhile, the San Diego Chargers. Okay, it's snowing in Cleveland. They expected up to a foot. And so how could San Diego, withstand this? Those guys are certainly fortified. And in the first quarter, Sherrod Coach roughs the young punter Mike Cyphers. And in the scoreless game, Coach undercuts Cyphers. Although we should change his name in this note, not Coach, to Parka, Ski Parka.
Winter Coach.
Winter Coach. Well, that was Ben. First down Chargers. But they do have this. Oh, bad weather? How about LaDainian Tomlinson? Right up the gut for a 20-yard game. And then Tomlinson is going to charge toward the record books with 11 straight games with a touchdown. The record is 13. John Riggins, George Rogers with 2 games to go. He can tie the record. Speaking of records, Drew Brees, he played at Purdue. He knows cold. Antonio Gates, wide open, 72 yards. This tight end has caught his 12th touchdown of the year, tying a mark held for tight ends Jackie Smith, Todd Christensen, Wesley Walls, and our own Mike Ditka. Wide open.
Well, you just look at Antonio Gates. He knows how to get open.
Cold.
And these guys got a lot smarter as the game went on.
Now, Terry Robisky says, well, let's try it. The interim coach of the Browns. And Hanik Milligan bobbles, recovers, Chargers ball. Robisky, you got to try something.
That's right.
Meanwhile, 3rd and goal, guess who's getting it? LT, LaDainian Tomlinson. You got, instead of a ski hat, you got the Browns fan. They love their football. They're out there in this weather. And the San Diego Chargers of Marty Schottenheimer have won the AFC West. The Chargers have won 8 in a row. They're 11-3, a team that won only 4 games last year, had the first-round draft pick. They are rolling to the playoffs.
We weren't expected to do much this year. Instead of 11-3, I think a lot of the people thought we'd be 3-11 at this time. But you know, here we are, and I think we're right on track to where we want to go, and we put ourselves in a position to, you know, and given ourselves a great opportunity. But we still have not met our expectations, and a lot of people think that might sound crazy, but we haven't. We still understand we have a long way to go, but this is definitely the first stepping stone, you know, winning the AFC West.
Well, all the divisions are done in the AFC. The records, of course, are not. But the Steelers, the Patriots, the Chargers, and the Colts are division winners. The Jets, with a big win, have a real stranglehold on one wild card spot. Ravens, Jags, Broncos, Bills. There's a lot going on here now. The Jags have beaten both Denver and Buffalo. Just pocket that. But look, let's quickly go AFC West. What Denver's not doing in San Diego, look, first playoff berth in 9 years, first division in 10 years. San Diego, first shutout in 11. Is there anybody done a better job than Marty Schottenheimer?
No, absolutely nobody. And I think he's the coach of the year. This comes totally unexpected. You know, we thought these other teams would be pretty good. This team, I think, came out of nowhere. And I think that this game plan, as you watch it today, this is a portable game plan. This is Tomlinson with that ability to establish the run. You've got a quarterback, as you mentioned, in Drew Brees, who's used to throwing in the cold. So I wouldn't expect that this team will be afraid to go anywhere and play football.
Yeah, they're going to surprise a lot on defense that shut out, that makes plays. And the San Diego Superchargers have won the AFC West. What a job by them. When we return, Brett Favre in the frozen tundra of Lambeau against Byron Leftwich of Jacksonville. You figured that Favre would have the upper hand, and a game dripping with playoff implications. 5-8 Tampa, 5-8 New Orleans. Sunday Night Football, the champs of the AFC South, the Indianapolis Colts hosting the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card hunt. But the big issue, Peyton Manning, 46 touchdown passes, 2 behind the all-time mark of 48 set 20 years ago by Dan Marino. Would tonight be the night? Highlights, Stu Scott.
A chance at some history. Peyton Manning, 46 touchdown passes this season, 2 shy of Dan Marino's record, but he got to face the Ravens. Ray Lou and company, Ed Reed and company. But Manning's like, yo, Ray Lou, Ed Reed, you went to W. So did Reggie Wayne at W. Wayne, first time over 1,000 yards receiving. That was good for 22. Same drive, ball in the 7. Manning's pass, almost picked by Chad Williams. Next play, looking for number 47, touchdown pass, almost picked by Will Demps. Colts settled for a field goal. Later first, on the sky cam play of the game, Jamal Lewis. Big ups to the big brother. 47 yards carrying kids. 20 carries, 130 on the ground, 25th career, 100-yard game. That led to a field goal to tie it at 3. Second quarter, Manning, the pass to Marvin Harrison. And for the 6th straight year, Peyton Manning goes over 4,000 yards passing. After a late Mike Doss interception, Manning in the shotgun, looking for Marcus Pollard. 31 yards. Colts get a field goal. They're up 6-3 at recess. But it's only the second time this year Peyton does not have a touchdown pass in the first half. Third quarter, Manning, though, getting righteous down the middle. Yo, you got to cover Marv, right? How he going to get wide open?
Got covered better than that.
82nd career touchdown hookup for Peyton and Marv. 47th touchdown of the year. Here's how I got wide open. There's the post corner, and there's the corner post, where he just freaked the cornerback. Wide open. Third quarter, Ravens down 13-3. Matt Stover trying the field goal, blocked, recovered by Von Hutchins, takes it to the 30-yard line. Take another look. Stover's kick hits his own man, Benny Anderson, right in the back of the noggin. Benny's like, yo, what's that, man? Need some Tylenol, dog. On the ensuing drive, Manning hands off to Edrin. Here's the thing about the Colts, though. They could have gone for the touchdown pass to tie it. Better odds with a touchdown run by Edge, 20-3 Colts. Early fourth, Stover, 36-yard field goal, good. But flag thrown. Refs, they get together. What do you think? What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? They call offsides on the Colts. Brian Billick says take the 3 off the board and go for it, and they do. Todd Heap, one of the best tight ends in the game, touchdown, 20-10 Colts. Late fourth quarter, Manning called off the field for the field goal and not happy about it. That was on 4th down. So on the field goal, Mike Vanderjagt, 33 yards, misses. You think Manning wasn't happy then? think he said a wordy dird. Lake Fork, Kyle Bowler driving. Pick by Cato June. Cato taking that thing back to the house. Do not sleep on Indianapolis's defense. Remember, Tony Dungy, defensive whiz. But wait on the return. June actually stepped out of bounds on the 4-yard line. So Peyton has a chance to tie Dan Marino. But Manning, classy, classy, classy. Took a knee. Much love from another classy man, Ray Lewis. Colts win 20-10. And ESPN's football coverage continues Christmas night next Saturday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, when the Broncos, in desperate need of a win, take on the Titans. Now let's send it back to Boom and TJ on NFL Primetime.
And now with Santa getting ready to come down the chimney, a trip to the frozen sun of Lambeau Field. Brett Favre, 90-19 in Packer home games. And they're playing Jacksonville, so you figure, whoa. And he hurts his left wrist here. Yes, it was...
I'm certainly not laughing at him getting hurt, but Brett's ability to get rid of the football in any situation, that kind of redefined right there.
Bruised left wrist stayed in the game. You know who took a beating but just keeps hanging in there? You got to love the way Byron Leftwich, because he can't move out of the pocket, but he is tough. Shaken up, and Leftwich stayed in. Hit by KGB Biamila. And then look at this play. The ball is live. Darren Sharper's going to pick it up and score. Here's why. They ruled it, well, you didn't see it there, but the ball, his arm was not going forward. It was a live ball. The guard picks it up, and Sharper steals it from him. Packer touchdown. And Jack Del Rio, well, that was good motion. Good throw. And I don't blame him for challenging, but here's a good call. Now you see it. Look, the arm was not going forward yet. It's a fumble, and Sharper puts the Packers ahead 10-7, but not for long. Fred Taylor, 37-yard run in the third. It's 21-17 Jacksonville. This team, I will not they come tough every week. Favre picked off by Rasheed Mathis. Favre discussed what an odd throw.
Inexplicable throw.
And then 4th and goal, Jags going for it. Greg Jones, power football. Another AFC team against an NFC team. 28-17. And now, scary Donovan Darius ejected from the game for the hit, and they pulling off the helmet of Robert Ferguson.
Yeah, a scary moment with him down. And you see right here, he kind of clotheslines him right across the head and neck. You can see Ferguson appears to be almost out before he hits the ground. And, you know, when we saw it, we were, certainly all of us, a little bit shaken.
Well, at least that's a good sign. The thumbs up, x-rays on his neck. He's going to the hospital, so the best for him. Meanwhile, back to action. Favre to Antonio Chapman. It's 28-23. They go for 2. 1:08 to go. Driver catches it. 28-25. Ryan Longwell onside kick. Here it comes. And Nick Sorensen. Johnny on the spot for the Jaguars. The Jacksonville Jaguars of Jack Del Rio. You know what? Every game they give you an effort.
Yes.
And that completes 4-0 for the AFC today against the NFC. It's 39-19. And Byron, forget the numbers on this -10 wind chill day. Tough playing Leftwich and the Jags.
Yeah, and I really think that the Jags are the AFC version of what the Carolina Panthers are to the NFC. It doesn't matter who's in, who's out, who's hurt. We are going to come out, as you say, and we're going to play tough every time we hit the football field and see where it ends up at the end.
And now the Packers fall back in the first place tie with Minnesota. Meanwhile, John Gruden's Buccaneers at 5-8 against the Saints 5-8. They're both alive. And on the opening kickoff, typical Saints. They botched the kickoff. They're going to be in big trouble because, well, wait a minute, maybe I spoke too soon. Aaron Stecker could go all the way. A disaster turns into a 98-yard touchdown right out of the gates. 7-0 Saints. First time they scored in the first quarter since week 2. You got to be kidding me. Meanwhile, Aaron Brooks, Simeon Rice pressuring him. Greg Spires bringing here the Saints. Brooks fumbles, then Simeon Rice. So quick off the ends.
Yeah, again,
7 sacks today, Bucks.
Well, they put a lot of pressure on Aaron Brooks, and usually when you put a lot of pressure on a guy, it's going to force him into some mistakes. The other quarterback not quite under that kind of pressure, and Joey Galloway, what a day.
Look at this, Joey Galloway over his own man makes the cut. Galloway at the 15. He's in. 59-yard punt return. Galloway. He had 2 today. The Bucs lead 14-7. Michael Pittman running hard. Fumble with the Bucs leading 17-14 in the fourth. And the Saints have the ball. Second and goal. Aaron Brooks. Dante Stallworth. Seconds to go. The Saints, the New Orleans Saints, who trailed by 10, 17-7, then missed a field goal in typical Saints fashion. Come back to score 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns and win by the count of 21-17. So the Saints, Tom, the Saints are in the hunt. They're 6-8, and the Bucs at 5-9, probably not. So here you go. Obviously, the North division up for grabs. The Seahawks at 7-7, the only team not below 500 in the West. They lead their division. Eagles 1, and Falcons just about 2. Well, no, they are 2. That's done. Vikes, and then Panthers, Saints, Rams. See, despite the loss on Saturday night, the Panthers still have a chance. Now, I got to tell you something. It's been a long time since I've checked Arizona's Week 17 schedule.
They're still in it.
They're in it.
No, they're still in it. Yes.
Tampa,
That's why I said
New Orleans, Carolina, Arizona. They all have chances, Tom.
Yeah. All have chances, and yet I think when I look at the character of the ball clubs, when I look at where they've come from, I still keep looking at the 1-7 at one time Carolina Panthers to where they've come now. I know they just lost a game on Saturday night, but when I look at that football team, I think that it's going to be hard to keep that football team out of the playoffs.
Well, Carolina plays Tampa and New Orleans.
They're going to kind of control a lot of things that are going to go on.
And meanwhile, the Packers with a numbing, no pun intended, loss, and now Minnesota and them on Christmas Eve. That's a huge game.
A huge game as well.
Huge game. And the NFC, will somebody please stand up and be a contender? Primetime performers as we head to Christmas week. We'll dole out some presents.
NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Grab yourself a great-tasting low-carb Miller Lite. Primetime performers, brought to you by Energizer. Keep going.
Boomer, my game ball goes to Larry Johnson of the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a kid who's been just itching to get into the game. He showed what he can do when he gets some playing time. 151 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns scored. He's made the kind of impact now late in the season that I think, you know, the Chiefs will really be looking for next year.
My game ball goes to Marty Schottenheimer and the San Diego Chargers. Playoff, 9 years. Division title's been 10 years. Shutout, it's been 11 years. They've won 8 in a row. They win in the snow. They win in the sun. They win in the rain. And they're going to the playoffs out of nowhere. Out of absolutely nowhere.
Nowhere.
And meanwhile, I mean, there could be some really good teams in the AFC that don't make it.
Yeah.
You think it's too late to shift to the NFC?
No, you can't. We can't shift it. But new NFL record for 100-yard rushes this year. With the new bump rule impact, we thought it affected the passers, it affected the rushers. Better rushing games.
Taylor had a huge game, too, 165. You know what? From all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas. Hope Santa brings you everything that you want. For Tom Jackson, I'm Chris Berman. Thanks for watching NFL Primetime.